What's up? What's up, people? Who's in the chat right now? Waiting to get a couple more people up in here. Looks like I got a couple viewers watching, lurking. Introduce yourself in the chat. You see the title, you see the description. I'm going to be talking about a video that I watched last night. I just happened to stumble upon it. I found it a little interesting. So I'm going to talk about it. Okay, so we down one. I'd like to know who I'm talking to. Yes, Yonas. Shout out to you, brother. I just stumbled on a video from a young lady, and shout out to this young lady. It's no disrespect to her, but I just had to speak on it. And I'm glad you're joining me. I want to build a little bit first and just give a little premise. Then I definitely want to get your input in the hangout. I'm speaking to Yesh Yonas. Mwiak. Shout out to that. Hashtag Mwiak. Type that in your Instagram. But last night, I was at work. I stumbled on a video, an interesting video. This video was posted by a YouTuber based in Atlanta. This particular YouTuber wanted to discuss some of her, I guess, give her perspective on her experience about dating in Atlanta. And it really It really piqued my interest. And I kind of knew what to expect because I've seen videos like this before. Because I think we've all heard about Atlanta and all the ratio of women to men is 9 to 1. I don't really believe that. I think that's really exaggerated. I mean, I would have to actually see some statistics. I need to see some actual numerical data to substantiate such a egregious claim. But again, that's the that's the urban legend that's going on, that there's an exorbitant amount of women compared to men in Atlanta. Therefore, the dating marketplace is a little bit lopsided and advantageous to the male gender. Respect to Gap Talk Media. I see you in there, San Francis. Good morning. For those that just come in the chat, I'm talking about a YouTuber who goes by the name of Yuchi Talks. That's her channel. And as I said before, shout out to Yuchi Talks. Much respect to her. She's got a growing channel. She may be on to something, at least for her demographic. But I caught this video last night, and she's talking about her dating experiences in Atlanta. Now, I've never been to Atlanta. We have some people who are in Atlanta, Yesh, Yonas in particular, who can give a better insight on that, and we'll get him on in a little bit. But I want to kind of break down this video, and I'm going to play this video. Now, I can't do a screen share and actually have the sound come out right, so I'm going to actually just play the video, and you're going to listen to the audio through the microphone, and that's all you really need. And we're going to kind of debunk some of the things that are being said in this video, because I think we need a man's perspective on this. So let's start from the beginning. Okay.
Hey you guys, I'm back with another video, and today's video I'm just going to be talking about dating in my 20s. I want to talk about that because I kind of feel like now I'm getting to a place where I'm open to dating and getting to know people, and
respect that head above water. Just wanted to say that real quick.
Finding that relationship that's going to be balanced and stable and grounded for me. So I just wanted to talk about my experiences specifically in Atlanta because, it's a different world. It's a whole different kind of jungle out here, especially if you're a Black woman. And so, hopefully y'all don't take my, stories or my experiences.
Now, I got to stop right there. I don't know if y'all caught that, but she said her experiences as a Black woman, it's a jungle out there. Now, we know that Atlanta has a large Black population, a lot of whom are highly educated. And I've never been to Atlanta, but I would imagine if you're young, Black, and successful, and you want to be around Black people, Atlanta would be the place to be. But again, I've never been there, but we're going to continue on the video.
You guys aren't offended by what I say or things that I may have the opinions on because of what I've been through personally when it comes to dating. I'm just speaking from my experiences, and I'm not a relationship expert, although I do have a degree in psychology as well, if you guys want to know. But like I said, I'm just going to be talking about that, and if you guys want to see more videos.
Notice she dropped her degree in psychology. Just have to slide that in there for the people. But I'll continue.
Videos like this, definitely comment, like, and all those good stuff below. I'm going to leave some information in the description box just to kind of see, what I'm talking about. So the biggest thing I want to let people know is, I'm speaking from the experience of being a Black single woman in my 20s, dating in Atlanta. But I noticed that I can relate to a lot of Black women dating in Atlanta. So that's who I'm speaking for.
Now she's alluding to her ethnic affiliation, and that does have relevance in a dating marketplace. Whether you're a man or a woman, your phenotypical appearance will affect how others perceive you and receive you. I'll continue.
Other people may have different opinions or different stories, but these are just my opinions. It's my disclaimer. Like I said, these are my opinions. These are not necessarily facts for you, but these are facts for me, and I'm giving my opinion. And like I said, if y'all have anything that you want to argue about, put it in the discussion below. So, like I said, I'm originally from the Bronx, New York. But like I said, I moved to Georgia as a teenager. So pretty much Georgia has been my life and been my whole experience for dating. And it's actually just been horrible. I didn't even really start dating until I got to college. And I got to college at around 16, 17. So, I started really like having my first few relationships in college. But the ones that actually like stuck. So my first boyfriend I had at like 17, and that was pretty much like, everybody's first like true first love type of experience, kind of swept you on your feet. It's the first time you're like meeting somebody and you have butterflies, all that hot shit, all of that. So, and I'm sorry, y'all, if you're offended by curse words. I'm going to try not to curse because I just don't necessarily want to do that on my channel. But I'm human and I cuss sometimes. So that's just that. Like I said, so I started dating when I was 17. I went to college in Atlanta. So definitely I was exposed to the Atlanta dating scene. And it wasn't too bad, like I said. And also, like I said, being a college student, I have a lot more of I was more so focused on what I was doing at the time, which was being a student. And, dating was just one of those things that happen along that way towards your degree, dating, jobs, all that stuff.
Now, notice what she said here. This is very important, and I need everybody to understand this because it might have slipped past you. I'm going to actually play that part again, and I want you to listen very closely to what she said.
I was more so focused on what I was exposed to the Atlanta dating. It wasn't too bad, like I said. And also, like I said, being a college student, I have a lot more of I was more so focused on what I was doing at the time, which was being a student. And, dating was just one of those things that happened along.
So she said she was more focused on being a college student, and dating was just one of those things that happened along the way. This is very, very significant. And this is the distinction between men and women. Women are able to prioritize their education over dating because dating for them comes naturally. It requires no effort. Men will constantly vie for a woman's attention. Whereas you, as a man, as a college student, you have limited resources. And unless you're some type of physical specimen, maybe you have some type of popularity that you have in your college. Maybe it's based on your sports accolades. Maybe you're in some type of fraternity. But for the most part, you are going to be vying for a woman's attention, whereas women are not going to be vying for yours unless you represent that upper echelon from a woman's perspective of that particular population. So, in all honesty, and I can respect the woman that's making that's make the sacrifices to be educated. But when I see a man educated, it's that much more significant because I understand the dynamics between a man and a woman. And I know that as a man, to focus on your scholastic endeavors and have to sacrifice your interactions with the opposite sex is very difficult to do. This is the reason why a lot of men don't do it, because they understand the sacrifices that come with pursuing scholastic endeavors, because you have to compromise your ability to pursue women. Whereas women can focus on school and men will naturally gravitate towards them. Men will naturally pursue women. They don't have to expend any energy pursuing the opposite sex. That's the difference. So when a woman has a bachelor's, a doctorate degree, honestly, I'm not very impressed, because a woman can prioritize her school and call a man over at 2 o'clock in the morning and he's going to come through. Whereas a man, if he tries to prioritize his school and then tries to call women over at 2 o'clock in the morning, you may get shut down. It's a big difference. So a woman can do both. A woman can go to school and date and really not feel any ill effects. But if a man tries to date while he's going to school, it's going to require so much effort to really extrapolate a desirable outcome that he's going to compromise his scholastic endeavors in the process. I'll continue.
And I am looking to find a real healthy relationship to settle down in and to really kind of, just grow with somebody, whether the relationship lasts a year, 10 years, 50 years. I'm just really looking to explore and see what's out there in the dating world. So in 2018, I can honestly say that it's literally been so difficult dating in Atlanta.
He says she's 25. That wall is fast approaching. Now, 25, she's at the end of her prime. She's at the end of her prime. The prime is around 18 years old. And this is studies that are done by a female sociology professor. This is not my data. This is not my data. This is data from actually a woman. And from her perspective, a woman's sexual marketplace prime is 18, 19 years old. Now, this woman is at 25, so she's at the tail end of that prime. She's already on the decline as far as sexual marketplace value. Now, that doesn't mean she's not attractive, and that doesn't mean that she can't get attention from men. But that means that at 25, she's not as desirable as she was when she was 18. That's just the way it is. But now that she's not as desirable, now she's looking towards, okay, I need a relationship. I need something of, in her perspective, substance. I'll continue.
Yeah, it's just difficult. I think, especially as a Black woman, I think Black women as a whole, like us dating is pretty much, it's a really difficult experience. And if you go back, I took a couple of classes. I have a degree in psychology as well. So I have a Bachelor of Arts in psychology as well as one in journalism.
So you see, she had to drop that education in there again. And what I noticed that I see it from women of all demographics, but particularly African American women, they fall back on their education level and they try to use that as a means to validate themselves. And again, I'm not going to bash women. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm trying to be objective here. But I understand why she's using her education, because you want to present yourself in a certain manner that people actually respect what comes out of your mouth. But men don't care. Let me say it again. Men don't care what your education level is. We don't. Because when we look at education level, what does that translate to? When men pursue education, when they go that route, their end goal is a better access to resources, whether they create their own opportunities or they seek employment with an established corporation or entity. But that's the reason why men pursue scholastic endeavors. It's for resource procurement, not accolades. Men don't say, I got a degree in this, look how impressive I am. It's like, let me get this degree so I can make this X amount of money. This is the difference between men and women. And women try to use that as a means to entice men, because women look at it from the perspective, what do I find impressive in men? I think a man who has X amount of education is impressive. So when I actually pursue men or actually interacting with men, let me project these things that I find desirable. But that's obviously, we as men understand that does nothing for us, because at the end of the day, women who have the ability to procure resources because of their education, which is not necessarily the case. A lot of them have education that really don't translate into any economic stability whatsoever. But for those that do have degrees and are able to utilize those degrees to make, a decent amount of money, how does that translate to the man of me, to the worthwhile man? I'll say that. Now, women tend to share resources with men who don't have anything. But a man they view as their equal or their superior financially, they won't share resources with. They'll expect you to foot the bill, but then save their money in their pocket. So when we come across a woman who has education, this is why it means nothing to us. Because what does it translate to for us? Now, a man of means, a man who has a high level of education, who makes X amount of money, a woman's going to expect that man to treat her. Otherwise, what good is that man's education? He's not going to share his resources. I have no need for that man. So when we have a woman with education that's making X amount of money, unless you're going to share your resources with me, unless you're going to splurge and spend money on me and shower me with gifts, why are you telling me what degree you got? It doesn't matter to me, because we as men, we pursue our own dreams and aspirations. We don't wait for a woman to come in the picture and say, "Hey, we're going to build this together." We as a man, 9 times I'm talking about the men that actually got their shit together. You're going to have your own place, your own house, your own condo, your own apartment. You're going to have your own vehicle. You don't need a partnership with a woman to achieve and acquire those things. So the woman's contribution scholastically and financially is not as significant. Men want women that are attractive. Let's just be honest. We want women that are attractive and that are a pleasure to be around. So if you have an attitude, or if you can't hold a conversation of any merit with the man, or you nag, things like that, that's what men care about. We don't care about, if you went to Carnegie University or Oxford, Stanford, doesn't matter. But I'll continue.
But to the class, and we're talking about the statistic of just how dating our relationships, and it's so crazy because Black women, we literally have the like if we get divorced, so say if we get married, get a divorce, we have the lowest remarriage rate, or it's the lowest rate of remarrying, and it's just crazy to me because it's.
Now she's talking about getting divorced and remarried. She's talking about statistics related to that phenomenon. Well, first of all, the statistics show that if you're a divorcee and you get married again, you have a higher rate of divorce, statistically speaking. The divorce rate increases. So it's better to make the right decision the first time around. But as a society, we have normalized being married multiple times, all at the expense of a man, by the way, but we've normalized this behavior, so it comes up so frequently in conversations, it's not a big deal. Women look at marriage not as a finality. They want you as the man to perceive that marriage as a finality and conduct yourself accordingly, but they don't look at marriage for themselves as a finality. In their mind, they always have an exit strategy, but they just don't want you to have one. So when they get married, divorce is not off the table. We do know that in the society, women are incentivized to divorce men. So that's why they have that perspective that they have. But I'll continue.
It's just like, those are really, like I said, did in my other class, we were talking about how basically there was this research that was done in regards to dating apps, and pretty much Black women were literally on the totem pole as far as the least desirable. And that is so crazy to me. Like, that's so crazy to me, because when I look and I see Black, like, we are amazing. Black women are amazing. We're beautiful. Like, there's just so many different types of Black women. But it's crazy because society says that we're less desirable, that we literally, like, our date, like, just it kind of translates or spills over into other areas of our life, such as romance and love and things that we want for ourselves. So it's crazy to me, right? And
Okay, so she talked about dating research that ranks different ethnic groups by gender. So you'll have, I've actually seen this data myself some years ago. And in this particular study, I'm not exactly sure how they gathered that data. I mean, I did read it, but at this point, it was some years ago. I don't remember exactly the specifics. But they had an actual rank, and they had, various different demographics of people. They said, particular, and from what I saw, that white Caucasian men were at the top of the actual quote unquote totem pole as far as desirability. And I do distinctly remember uh, Black women being at the bottom. Now, part of the reason why I believe Black women are at the bottom of the totem pole is because of branding. If you look at a particular demographic as an entity, as a group, as a corporation, think about the marketing of Black women. Look on TV, look in media. What do you see? You see negative portrayals of Black women. A lot of these negative portrayals, actually all the negative portrayals that I see of Black women are done by Black women. Is Black women portraying themselves in negative light. Unfortunately, these Black women are being used as spokeswomen for all Black women. There isn't that counterbalance of positive Black female imagery. So that's part of the problem. It's branding. So there's a stigma associated with being Black male or Black female. But then from a dating perspective, people don't really have any stereotypical advantages that they find with Black women. Whereas Black men, obviously, there's that stereotype of Black men and, and sexual prowess and endowment and things of that nature. And then the actual rebellious nature of being of a different demographic and pursuing Black men. Those are some of the things that make Black men desirable. But as far as Black women, the actual stereotypes about Black women are predominantly negative. Some of these stereotypes are, Black women have an attitude, Black women are unapproachable, Black women are going to embarrass you in public, things of that nature. Now, part of the problem that I see with this young lady, now you guys can't see her, but I'm looking at the video. I'm just playing you the audio of the actual YouTube post. This is a Black woman. She's somewhat attractive. She looks like she's probably I can only see her from like the shoulders up. So she looks like she's a little bit thicker. And when I say thick, I mean thick. She's not fat. Let's be clear. She's not fat, but she looked like she's a little thick, but I don't know where exactly she's thick. I'm looking at her face and she has kind of a little bit fuller face. I don't think she's overweight by the picture though. But I look at her makeup. She has on a lot of makeup, and this may just be for the YouTube video. I don't know if she goes around normally like that, but she's wearing a lot of makeup to include foundation. And personally, I don't really like all that makeup. It's just, I think a woman that wears all that makeup kind of resembles a drag queen when you have on so much makeup. That's just me personally. Um, but the makeup she has, and I find it's prevalent with black women, dark skinned black women. Even I've seen some Indian women, dark Indian women do this, is that they'll put a foundation, either a tone or two lighter than their actual skin. And I just think that looks crazy. That just makes it look worse. Like, I'd rather you put a tone darker to cover, because when you go darker, it looks more natural. When you go lighter, it looks unnatural. And I understand, it's really hard. I can understand some of the difficulties being a black woman in America, and just the pressure because, especially if you're a dark skinned woman, you just don't feel like you get the respect you deserve. But I'm gonna go into that. I'm about to debunk that. But a big issue is that when you try to compete against somebody who is inherently different from you, and I'm talking about physically, you're gonna lose. You can't compete on their level. And let me explain this. When you look at a Caucasian or non-black woman, but we'll just say a Caucasian woman, because this is always the point of contention within black YouTube. A white woman or Caucasian woman generally going to have a finer texture hair. Generally, the hair is going to grow longer. I didn't say grow faster, grow longer. There's a difference between growing fast and growing long. That just has to do with your hair cycles. Because actuality, black women and black men in general, hair generally grows faster than that of their Caucasian counterparts. But the actual growth cycle is significantly shorter. That's why they never attain that length that their counterparts do of other ethnicities. But at any rate, the woman with the hair that's straight naturally, but then you're a woman who has naturally coarse hair, curly hair, or different texture hair, but then you treat your hair to resemble that of somebody who's not black. And the things you have to do to get your hair like that is going to be damaging to your hair. And then it's never going to look like the person's hair who hair grows like that naturally. This is why you can't compete on that level. Why are you trying to compete in that realm? You'd be better served embracing your differences and trying to showcase them in a way that's appealing. Okay, my hair is this texture. Let me work with my hair in the texture that it is, and let me use my natural instead of trying to be something that I'm naturally not and just not be as effective at it. It's almost like if I have a sports car, but I want to haul groceries and haul the soccer team in it. The sports car is designed to drive fast. It's designed to handle corners at a high rate of speed. It's not designed to haul around bratty kids and all their soccer gear. So when you try to have it as a hauler, it's not going to be as effective at it. That's just the way it is. So when women, particularly black women, try to compete against their counterparts that are not black, but then try to utilize some of the things that they extrapolate their beauty from, it's not going to work. This is why you lose. You're competing with somebody on their terms. In their terms, they don't have to do anything to conform to that image. They're like that naturally. You, on the other hand, have to put a lot of effort to look that way. From its processing your hair, some of these women have colored hair, dyeing their hair blonde. I think that looks crazy when I see a black woman with blonde hair. Women getting false hair, extensions, wigs, whatever you want to call it. I think it looks crazy. Then this woman that I'm looking at, Uchi Talks, she has colored contacts. Now, from the YouTube video, they look like blue contacts, but I understand that there can be some type of optical distortion that may have given the contacts a different color on the restream. But the contacts look really blue, so I'm thinking that she actually has in blue contacts. Why would you have in blue contacts? Again, you're trying to compete with somebody on their terms. You'd be better served doing you. Do you? And you talk about how wonderful black women are, then why are you trying to portray yourself as not being black? I'm not saying you're not trying to be not black, but your standard of beauty is not based on blackness. This is why you can't compete. You have to set your own standard of beauty. But I'm going to continue.
Harping back on what I was talking about when society kind of tells that it's literally like, it's crazy to me. But anyhow, like that's the reality. So I feel like, especially when you put us black women, us as in black women, in a place like Atlanta, there are actually a lot more women here than there are men. So that's one factor that goes into why the dating here in Atlanta is so difficult. But then you also have the fact that Atlanta is very much so a hub for the LGBTQ community. So it's definitely like, if it comes to like as a straight heterosexual female, you know, maybe men that you may be interested into, they're just not interested in you. And, you know, that's okay, of course.
Again, I got to debunk that. She is claiming that, dating is difficult due in part to the heavy presence of a LGB, the LGB, community. I don't know the exact term, but you know what I'm talking about. So with that particular community has nothing to do with your ability to date men. Every city in the United States has an LGB community. They're in their lane, you're in your lane. They're not taking prospective partners from you. It's simple competition. Some people like what they like. That shouldn't adversely affect your ability to date. That's just my opinion. I'm in Seattle, and I guaranteed in Seattle the LGBT community has a bigger presence than they have in Atlanta. I guarantee you. It hasn't stopped me from being able to attract dates, and I'm a man. I'm gonna continue.
Of course, but that does count as another factor, and then just the fact that like we have all these like societal constructs and things that are just against black women being seen as desirable.
I agree with that. But remember, we're not the greater populace as a black collective. We are a minority in the United States. We can't expect blackness to be the universal standard of beauty when we're not in a country that's predominantly black. Given our country's history, even if there was a greater concentration of African Americans, we still wouldn't be considered the standard of beauty. You go to countries like Brazil, being black isn't the standard of beauty there, but that has one of the highest concentrations of individuals of Negroid descent on the planet. And even there, blackness isn't appreciated. But I'll continue.
What I will say though, in 2018, you do see a lot of interracial couples and even, just normalizing black women being the object of desire, you know what I'm saying? And media and all that stuff. So yeah, like dating in Atlanta has just been kind of difficult because, and also I feel like one thing I will say, because like I said, I went to a really popular college here in the city. Obviously, yeah, I went to Georgia State in Atlanta, and it's kind of like once you date one person, it feels like the circles are just so small. Like, if you guys ever heard,
listen close. She's putting nails in her own coffin right here. I'm going to rewind that a little bit. Make sure y'all caught that.
Georgia State, Atlanta. It's kind of like once you meet one person, it feels like the circles. If you guys ever heard of something like I guess your degrees of knowing people, it's like, I may know this person and they may know somebody else, and them knowing somebody else might lead them back to somebody that I know who knows. And it's kind of like it just becomes this small circle of dating the same people, and it's just like, no, like.
Now we get to the root of the problem. All of that video, we're 8 minutes and 10 seconds in. I know I've stopped the video several times, but the total amount of time elapsed of the actual video that I'm playing for you people so far is 8 minutes and 10 seconds. And she finally gets to the real root of the problem. This is a problem inherent with, I think, all women, women of all demographics, but particularly of African American women. Women date the same men over and over again. There's no shortage of men. The shortage is in the men that you actually choose as women. Let me say it again. There is no shortage of men anywhere. As a matter of fact, there's an overabundance of men. Why? Because you women are constantly sharing men. Now, you may not be overtly sharing men, but the practices of Black women is what allows Black men to have multiple, certain demographics, certain groups of Black men are dating all of the women. Whereas there's a lot of Black men that are not dating anybody. These women make conscious decisions to pursue certain men and then get mad when they find out that that man that they're with is not exclusive to them. For instance, if a woman has criteria, which all women do, but then you have that criteria that's irrational, illogical for a monogamous relationship. When you say you want a man that makes this amount of money, has this level of education, is this tall, has this a percentage of body fat, whatever, has a facial aesthetics that look like this. It's like the men that women are looking for represent a very, very small part of the population. And then the more characteristics you add on that list, the smaller that group of men becomes. It's just simple mathematics. Because if you say, okay, we'll say the woman wants men who are at least 6 foot tall. That's a common thing amongst women. Okay, now you've just cut out 85% of the population. Now you're left with 15% of the population. 15%. And that's when you include all ethnic groups. Now, if you say you only want Black men, now try about 11, or actually we'll say 12% Black, maybe 6% of that. 6% of the 15% already. Then we start adding in income. You start adding an education level. You start adding whether or not the man has kids. I mean, it's not very logical. And obviously, we as men don't expect women to be logical at all times. But I need to bring clarity to the situation so that way women understand this is the reason why you've pigeonholed yourself. This is the reason why you're dating the same man. There's plenty of men out there. You just choose not to entertain them. We look at situations where men and women interact. What do women do? They squander the opportunity. Women act like they don't want to be bothered. Even in social situations. Another granted, there's situations where you may encounter the opposite sex, grocery stores, auto repair shop, gas station, church. Those are areas where you may encounter somebody, but it may not necessarily be a socially intimate space. But you have spaces like day parties, you know, maybe you go to a bar, a club, or whatever. Social spaces like that, the opportune time for men and women to interact with one another. And then what do women do? I mean, we've all been to the club. We've all been there at some point in our lives. Some of I don't know how old the viewers are right now, but my clubbing days was about 10 years ago. I went through that phase and I saw how the women acted, screaming up and down about how they want somebody and nobody wants to talk to them. And then they go to a space where everybody's talking to them and they're not responsive to it. They're just not responsive to it. Maybe a sensory overload. I don't know. But there's not a woman on this planet can tell me that she doesn't have men trying to talk to her all the time. I don't care what the woman looks like. Even the lowest of the low. There's men pursuing you as a woman. On the other hand, a man can go through his whole life and not maybe have a handful of women actually approach him. The burden of actually approaching the opposite sex is on the man. So when women complain about, their experiences with dating and, they complain about their social circles, this is things that they brought on themselves. I'll continue.
You literally don't want that, and then if you do meet a guy, I think that Atlanta, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this with my chest. I'm gonna say this real strong. Like, Atlanta has a lot of guys who you wouldn't be the cream of the crop if you weren't in Atlanta, period. And I said it. And I say that because, like, Atlanta really have y'all out here thinking that you guys are God's gift to women, and that's just not the case.
Boy. It's like when I hear this, this is what really prompted me to make a rebuttal video. Because basically, she is attacking the mindset in men in Atlanta that women everywhere have. What is she talking about? This is what men go through. She's complaining about what men go through everywhere. Let me say this again. This woman, God bless her heart, is complaining about what men everywhere experience. Every man in America has encountered countless numbers of women who think they're God's gift to men. Practically every woman thinks that. A woman who's your peer thinks she's better than you. A woman who is not your peer, who's beneath you, still thinks she's better than you because she's the woman. This is how she's been programmed. In actuality, here's what's going on in Atlanta. Men see women as their equals there. That's what's really going on. See, everywhere else, men see themselves as inferior to women. They see themselves as having to vie for a woman's attention, even if it means compromising their morals, ethics, and principles. That's the difference. Everywhere else is the problem, not Atlanta. Atlanta actually has it right, from what I'm hearing from this woman and from what I'm hearing from everybody else. Men are actually valuing themselves in Atlanta. Men know their worth in Atlanta. It's not that they think they're better because they're in Atlanta. They're actually thinking the way they're supposed to be thinking in Atlanta. Actually, they're approaching the thinking they're supposed to be thinking in Atlanta. You're never going to get the real way you're supposed to be thinking until you leave the country. Let me say it again. If she thinks these Atlanta men are wilding, she hasn't seen nothing yet. There's a growing revolution. Men are getting their passports. Men are done playing games. Men are traveling and then they're seeing, wait a minute, I thought I was the problem. Now I see it was the women that was the problem. I'm actually getting treated how I feel I'm supposed to be getting treated. And this is why this woman is upset. I won't say she's upset. Maybe she's a little bit disgruntled or maybe even frustrated. At the very least, she's frustrated. I won't say she's upset. She's frustrated. She's frustrated because she can't get the man she wants to do what she wants him to do. That's the key. Either she gets a man that does what she wants him to do, but is not the man that she really wants, or she gets the man that she really wants, but he won't conduct himself in a manner that pleases her. That's why she's upset or disgruntled. But men experience this all the time. Either you, as a man, you either get the woman that you don't really want, but at least she's tolerable enough, you know, from a personality standpoint, or you get a woman who's physically exactly what you want, but you can't get along with her. So this is what this woman is complaining about. She's complaining about what we as men experience all the time. Maybe she doesn't know that. So hopefully she'll see my video and understand that, you know what, this experience that you're recounting, this is the experience of every man in America practically. Every man in America experiences this in every city. This is what we go through. This is why we as men, we're not going to sympathize with what you're saying. It's falling on deaf ears. I'll continue.
Like, because the crazy thing when I ask a lot of women, especially like I said, most of my associates are Black. When I ask them, like, you know, when you go to like a different city, is it like do you feel like, you know, you have a lot more men that seem interested in you? And I get a lot of people, and they say yes, because literally Atlanta is just full of beautiful women. So it's really hard to stand out in Atlanta, you know, because I think, especially the culture when it comes to like girls out here, like, I don't care what's your pay, I don't care what your pay scale is, like your hair and your nails are always going to be done. And if you can't pay for somebody to do them, you know somebody that does it. So you're going to be looking good regardless. It's just this culture of just being really beautiful. And I love it, obviously. Like, I feel like it's part of who I am. I like to dress up when I go out to places. Not necessarily my everyday thing, but it's something that I like to do. So, you know, but like I said, with all that competition, like, it's hard out here for us. Like, it's really.
You don't think it's hard for men? She's talking about competition. It's hard out here for us. That's what makes dating hard, because there's competition out there. You should be running your own race anyway. But again, she's complaining about what we as men always experience. The difference is that you'll have a group of women, a larger group of women. You'll have 80% of women pursuing 20% of men. 80% of the women will be pursuing 20% of the men. So the other 80% of men, they're left pursuing the leftovers, because that 20% is not paying them any attention. That top 20%, forget about it. And then you have the next 60 or so percent of women pursuing that top 20% of men as well. Excuse me, that bottom 20% of women pursuing that top 20% of women as well. But at least that bottom 20% of women will give the other men an opportunity at least. But a lot of the women, you can have a woman who's practically your equal. Y'all make similar incomes, similar as far as appearance. If you were to rate each other on a scale of 1 to 10 from physical characteristics, aesthetics, you could be equal. But you'll have a woman that's a 6, but she wants to date a 9, an 8 or 9 man. A woman that's a 4 will want to date an 8 or 9 man. A woman that's a 4 won't even date a 6 man. She won't even date a man that's higher than she is. No, he has to be significantly higher. And this is the reason why women end up sharing men. This is the reason why. Because you've ignored such a large portion of the population and you only see certain men. Other men are invisible to you. But then you act like, oh, it's no men out there. I can't find any. There's no good men. There's no men. It's just not the case. It's not true. I'll continue.
Really crazy. And I think that you'll hear a lot of guys saying that they find that when they come to Atlanta, they have positive dating experiences, and they do because there's a lot more women. I feel like the last time I remember, I think when I was in school, when I was hearing the ratio, and I think it was the last census or whatever they did, and it literally shows that Atlanta, Georgia, like, so there's literally a 9-to-1 ratio or something like that. So like for every 9 women, there's 1 man.
Now, I'll have to actually see the data on that. I find that hard to believe. 9 women to every man. 9 women to every man. I don't know. I have to see the data on that.
So like that's 9 women for every 1 man. That's crazy. You know, and like
I don't know. That sounds like urban legend. That's what that really sounds like. It just sounds like some rumor, some myth, and probably started. There's probably some fact out there that said there was like 3 women to 2 men, and then somebody took that and ran with an exaggeration. It went from 3 women to 2 men to 3 women to 1 man. Then it went to 4 to 1, then 5 to 1. Now it's 9 to 1. People just exaggerating and confabulating the story. This is what I think is happening because 9 to 1, I just find that really, really difficult to believe. I'll continue.
As Atlanta expands, you know, I definitely have seen people Atlanta kind of be merged into the dating scene because they're definitely coming around and they're, you know, getting in these circles, like I said, with the especially if you went to college in Atlanta, your network is pretty much it's big. It could be big or small, whatever, however. But I feel like you know somebody that knows somebody. Period. That's just how it is. Yeah. So, like I said, I have seen that in the influx. I've seen the influx of people who aren't necessarily from here that move here, and definitely that has come into play. But it's still kind of, like I said, difficult. I feel like I find it challenging, and definitely something I want to challenge myself on for the rest of this year to next year is to really put myself out there because I am looking for a healthy relationship. So when I say that, I make sure I really emphasize the healthy aspect because I feel like in the past I've just had relationships that weren't healthy or relationships out of convenience, and I feel like I haven't had an actual like adult relationship to really, you know, really open my mind up to dating because at 22, I'm 25 now, but at 22, I literally said, I don't want to date anymore. And I said, I don't want to date anymore because it was just too much for me. And then that relationship that I was leaving was such a burden to me. It was awful, like, you know, but I'm here now and I'm doing better, glowing better, feeling better, looking better, definitely looking better. That's what happened. Y'all want to stay sweet. Okay. But anyway, yeah, so I feel like it was getting to that point. And I kind of feel like, this was just a little mini video, and I just wanted to talk about the things that seems to be factors in why dating in Atlanta is so hard. I definitely can do some story times on the horrible dates I've had. Oh, girl. If I get into it, hey, you'll just be looking at me like you're stupid. Like, are you dumb? Like, that's pretty much, I feel like I will do some story times and tell y'all about these horrible dates. So you guys know what not to do, period. And like I said, if you got to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. As always, I love you guys. And be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe.
And I think we're going to end it right there. That was a young lady by the name of Uche Talks, UCHE. Again, that's U as in uniform, C as in Charlie, H as in hotel, E as in echo. UCHE Talks. And her actual channel name is UCHE NANA. Uchi Nana. And I encourage everybody to support her. This is not a personal attack against this lady. I just have to debunk some of the stuff that she was saying because I feel very strongly against it. And even though I disagree with some of the things that she's saying, I just like their video right now. Let me say that again. I disagreed with a lot of the things that she's saying, but I just like their video right now because we can agree to disagree. She's a woman. She's obviously going to have a different perspective than me. But that doesn't mean I hate her. I'm going to, I wish ill will on her. I'm trying to, disrupt her channel. Not at all. Much respect to her. And I think this is the way that we can do things moving forward. If we disagree with somebody, we can still be respectful about it. Because that's what I'm about. I'm all about respect. And again, shout out to Uchi Nana. Yushinana, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but I'm probably butchering it. Yuchinana. She has her channel and she has her perspective. I respect her perspective, but I just disagree. That's all. Respectfully, I disagree. I think that a lot of the complaints this woman had are basically a normality for men. It's commonplace, common practice for men. This is what we as men experience. But because she's a woman, she feels like she shouldn't have to go through that. It should be different for her. And she feels as though if the men that are in Atlanta are taking advantage of the situation and that, these men think that they're better than what they really are. Which, maybe that is the case, maybe not, I don't know. But at any rate, I don't think the level of dissatisfaction is warranted on her behalf because, again, this is a normality for us men here, not just in Atlanta, but worldwide. This is what men experience everywhere. I'm going to look in the chat real quick and see what we got going on. We got a lot of activity going on. Let's see here. Yeah, San Francisco, here from a woman's perspective. Exactly, that's a woman's perspective. And like I said, I respect her. I don't have any ill will against her. Just because somebody says something I don't agree with doesn't mean I have a personal problem with them. Hey, they're entitled to their opinion. And like I said, I like their video. I mean, I physically hit the like button on her video, even though I disagree with her. Frogbox in the building. Head above water. You see Frogbox, he got his avatar on deck. San Francisco is in the building, but let me see. I think you're characterizing all women. Oh, so San Francisco, I guess San Francisco is a woman. Maybe it's short for Samantha. And Samantha, I'm going to tell you like I told Frogbox, you got to get your avatar game up. I see a green little man there looking crazy. It's too easy to upload a picture. Get your avatar game right. Now, as far as what you said, I don't think women date the same men over and over and over. What I mean by as a woman is not going to date the same guy specifically, but you may have a group of women who date the same men. This is what I meant when I say that. And this is statistically proven. When we look at the actual pregnancy rate, and those men that are responsible for the pregnancies represent a small portion of the population. It's a handful of guys, you know, relatively speaking, that are responsible for most of the children. Most men, this is a statistical fact. Most men, statistically speaking, will not pass on genetic lineage. Again, most men will go through the course of their life and never generate offspring. That particular lineage is lost in those men. This is fact. So yes, women tend to congregate around a small group of men. I stand by that statement. I think you're characterizing all women, and it's not true. I'm not saying it's all women, but most women. And this is substantiated by data. It is. That's just the way it is. You know, I'm impartial. I'm trying to be objective here. You know, this is just the nature of women. You know, it's no shot at women, but that's just the way it is. Let's see here. I've been married 28 years, and I didn't get the interaction with all these men. 28 years. Okay, so I'm guessing you're middle aged if you've been married 28 years. Yeah, so head above water. The type of nigga she like gotta pick them up in her car when they go out on a date. I'm sure she's had some experiences like that, head above water. Matter of fact, head above water. What are you doing right now? Man, you can hop on the chat. Who else is in the chat? Gab Talk Media, are you still there? Yes, Yonas, are you still there? If you're still there, let me know something in the chat. Head above water. Are you still there? Let me know something in the chat. I don't know who's all in the chat right now. Splash, are you in the building? Oh, you're still there. Okay. I'm about to send you the link. You want to hop on. Let's see here. Yes, Jonas, are you in the building? Are you in Atlanta? So if you want to give some input, it would be greatly appreciated. Let me see. Head above water. Hold on, Splash. I got to go find your email because this thing doesn't save your actual information. I got to actually manually type it in each and every time. Really aggravating, but let me see here. I got to go back in your Skype and find your info. Hold on for a second. Okay, yes, Jonas wanted. Okay, I'm gonna send yes, Jonas. Yes, Jonas just messaged me on WhatsApp, so I'm gonna send him a link. But Splash, let me get yours real quick. Let me see Splash. Okay, so Splash, I sent you the invite on Google Hangouts, and let me see here. We're gonna find yes, Jonas. So Splash, I sent you the invite. Check your Google Hangouts. It should be there. And let me see. Yes,
Check
Yonas.
1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2.
Okay, you in the building.
Yes, sir.
What'd you think about that that video that I kind of reviewed? Now I know it's kind of hard because I was only playing the audio. I don't have a soundboard, so I can't like directly plug the sound into the video feed. So that's the reason why I was just playing the video. I mean, playing the video over the actual microphone so you can hear the audio.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
so, what do you think about that? What I was playing?
From what I picked up on it, man, it just sounds like the same rhetoric that most women spit nowadays. They say the same thing. And 9 times out of 10, when you look at their background and see the type of men that they're dating or they dealt with, 9 times out of 10, it's a street cat. You dig what I'm saying? It's like you can't tie down a street cat because the street cat, especially when they've been raised by single mothers. I'm not saying all street cats been raised by their single mothers, but they know how women are, especially single women. They've seen it, they've seen how their mothers move. They see how other women move. People are moving fast trying to get it in Atlanta. 9 times out of 10, the type of dude she's dealing with, she's not dealing with other. She says she's going to school and she's like, I don't want to date nobody. Guarantee you she wasn't even trying to look at nobody at her school. Anybody smart who got good grades, who's dresses well, articulate, headed in the right direction, that's who she's not pursuing. She pursuing a motherfucker that is not enrolled to any university. Hell, she's probably pursuing a motherfucker who got expelled from the 10th grade and didn't even go back. I mean, that's what I see that all the time, and then they want to complain. It's as simple. Oh, I want to nurture. See, women want to nurture. They want to be able to change whoever the fuck they get with. And all you're doing is when you get with somebody, you're not changing anything when you taking care of them, getting with them, giving them pussy. You're just enabling them to do what they've been doing. You're rewarding them. You can't change somebody with pussy. You're rewarding them.
Facts.
All that damage that you're doing in the neighborhood and the random shooting that you did at the club, man. Let me tell you, every time you turn on the news, there's a hip hop club, or there's brothers shooting at each other at a Whataburger or wherever. I guarantee you they got a baby mama somewhere, and I guarantee you she fine as hell. A random senseless act of violence that come from brothers that's plastered all over the news, the mugshots and everything. 9 times out of 10, those brothers got baby mamas and they all fine as hell. And those baby mamas, they're educated. They have a nice car. They got a nice apartment or a nice house. But they can't get enough of Pookie and Ray Ray. All right? That's who they get with. So that's her problem. She got a thug problem.
And you know what? I totally agree with that. I think that that's kind of prevalent that you'll have a woman uh who's in school but she's not pursuing her peers. She's pursuing men who are outside the realm of academia. Now we got Yesh Yonas on the line. He's on a check-in, and Yesh Yonas actually lives in Atlanta. Now I don't know how much of that video you caught because I kind of stopped and gave commentary throughout that video. Yes, but this woman is in Atlanta and she was talking about Atlanta dating and her experiences with Atlanta dating. And one of the things she said is that the men in that the ratio of women to men in Atlanta is 9-1. She also said that the men in Atlanta act as though if they're God's gift to women, and that they wouldn't be as high on the sexual marketplace value list if they were outside of Atlanta. So basically, because they're in Atlanta, they're actually ranked higher than what they really are if they had went somewhere else. What are your thoughts on that, Yesh?
Well, what's going on, Super Triz? What's going
What's
on,
going on?
Splash?
What up? What up?
Man, oh man, me and Vidoe did this video already the other day, so we pretty much went in on her.
Oh, you saw this video too?
Yeah. We
Well, see,
went
that's
in on
probably
her.
why that video came up in my feed, because YouTube has an algorithm where people in your people that you're connected to,
Yeah.
the videos that they watch will come up in your feed and vice versa.
Yeah, so we didn't really get into it. We're just lightly getting into it because it's the same type of videos. But as far as anything, let's talk about numbers, right? Since like 2016, now those are the I guess the numbers that all these data places go from. In 2016, there's 80,000 men, single men to every single women to every single man.
Whoa. 80. Say that one more time.
There's 80,000 more single women than there are single men in Atlanta. 80,000 more.
Okay, so let me slow you down real quick.
Yeah.
So we have 80,000 more now. That may seem like a lot, but we have to consider what's the total population.
Well, the population in Atlanta is 463,000.
Okay, hold on for a second.
In Atlanta.
Okay, hold on for a second. We got to slow this down because we're gonna get this right. Because we gotta clear up all this conjecture once and for all. So there's 463,000.
Yeah, actually in the city of Atlanta. Now,
hold on. 463 minus 80. Oops, I'm sorry. 463 minus 80,000. 463 minus 80,000.
Yeah.
That's going to be 383,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right. Now, they do something different in Atlanta. They add these other places as a metropolitan. You already know. So the metropolitan numbers makes Atlanta much larger than what it is. You get what I'm saying? So the actual city of Atlanta, like they will add DeKalb County, they will add parts of Cobb County. They will consider it metro. Now that brings the number with the metro population to about 5.6 million because you add all of these other cities to the actual metro Atlanta area. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it bring, huh?
Okay, let me just slow it down real quick because this woman said it's 9-1, but based on my calculation, now I'm not a mathematician, so please don't quote me on this. But based on my calculations, it looks like there's about 4 men, or actually there's about 5 women to every 4 men. Now she said it was 9-1, and I knew that sounded crazy. I just couldn't believe there was 9 women to 1 man. If there's 9 women to 1 man in Atlanta, I'm moving right now. If there's 9 women to every man in Atlanta, I'm moving over there right now. I knew that shit sounded crazy. So basically, there's 5 women to every 4 men. But go ahead, Yesh.
Yeah. So they try to. Many times they try to skew the numbers. Now, when you add those other areas that's part of Atlanta, it might bring the numbers up a little. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So depending on how you divvy up that 5.6 million is where the numbers can get kind of sketchy. because you got to think these cities and you got to equate all of the people that's been recently moving down here, all of the people that have moved down here. So the numbers can never be, because you hear a lot of people from up north moving to the south, a lot to Atlanta, a lot of people from California. So those numbers are constantly changing. You get what I'm saying? People that have left already, and so that also messes up the numbers. So that's why it takes years to really get these numbers in. You and Splash know this. You and Splash know this. So the numbers can change, because the black population was once at like 50 something percent. Now they're saying that the white population have jumped up. The Hispanic population has risen. So now all of those numbers are changing. So now we're talking about single dating men versus single dating women. Well, what about women that actually have a man living with them, but they don't register as single or married or anything like that? You see what I'm saying? So it's like a whole bunch of shit that goes into that. So the numbers are never going to be like how they should. But there's a thing what they're doing, inflating numbers. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people are inflating numbers to actually go to their argument. So you got, again, she said she learned this in school. So they're actually teaching this curriculum in school. If you haven't noticed in the video, she said she learned these numbers in school. So where are the schools in the universities getting these numbers from? Are their numbers factual? Are the AJC numbers factual? Are the U.S. Census numbers factual? You see what I'm saying? The competing places that are actually competing with each other with these calculations, it's all over the place. So you never know what's what. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But I know there's a high number of single women in Atlanta. Like, I see it all around. I see it all. Women, single events, is a whole bunch of women there and very few guys. You see what I'm saying? So that can fall either way. But I know there's a significant number of single women here who knows if they're sharing, who knows if I don't know any of that. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna just keep it open for now. But if you look at numbers, you could detect them, you could break them down, but that's going to take time. That's going to take time, because so many people are actually putting different sets of data out. You see what I'm saying? So that I don't like to get in that, because that'll take a long time to really go in.
I knew. Listen, I'm listen. While you talking, I'm listening to what you're saying, but I'm doing some research on these numbers. Yesh, and listen, I'm about to debunk her some more. See, this is the nonsense that really gets to me. Now, as you know, I work in healthcare, right? And so we understand that women generally live longer than men. Women on average, I think women on average live anywhere between 5, sometimes 8 years more than men, longer than men, right? And men die at a greater rate than women from like industrial accidents and things like that. So not only do women have a longer life expectancy, they have a lower mortality rate than men. This further skews the numbers. Let me explain why. According to this study, an AJC, so I think it's American Journal or whatever, or some type of Atlanta Journal.
Atlanta Journal Constitution.
There you go. So Atlanta has, and it spoke about the 80,000 more women than men. I'm gonna let you go back after this, Yesh. Atlanta has 1,100 single women for every 1,000 single men, or a 1.1 single woman per single man ratio. So 1.1 to 1. An additional 1/10 of a single woman if you measure people like fractions. So, okay, so now here's the caveat. But younger single men outnumber single women across the board. So what they're doing is they're adding all these elderly women. Now, I've said this in my personal life. I haven't said this over the air yet. But they're adding in all these single elderly women, a lot of whom have squandered opportunities with men throughout their lives, and they ran out of time. and then their sexual marketplace value plummeted, and then they're unable to procure a man for the long-term duration. Now that's why they're single. But I digress, because we find here that younger men, younger single men outnumber single women across the board. So this is the reason why these numbers are skewed. So a woman that's 25 years old, there's going to be more single men than women in your age bracket. Do you understand what I just said? Yesh, Yonas. This totally debunked their argument, because single men in her age bracket are going to outnumber her. So I say again, the reason why she's having a tough time dating in Atlanta is because she's ignoring a large proportion, portion of the men. What do you think about that, Yesh?
No, I again, that's why I said numbers can be tricky depending on how you look at them and twist it to your argument. So those numbers, if these numbers are factual, you get what I'm saying? That's showing you that there's only one extra guy to every one. Atlanta has 1,100 single women for every 1,000 single men. Or 1.1 single women per single man. Yeah, that debunks what she's saying, though, if you look at it from this study. And at the same time, southeast of Savannah has one largest ratio of younger single men to single women.
I mean, do you see that? I was reading that right as you said that, Yesh. Do you see those numbers? Say that out loud. Say that out loud.
That's crazy.
Can you say it again? Can you say it again, Yesh?
At the same time, Hinesville, southeast of Savannah, has one of the largest ratios of younger single men to younger single women. 1,747 single men to 1,000 women ages 18 to 24. And then it says these numbers begin to flip. This is a different section. These numbers begin to flip as everyone gets older. Single women outnumber single women. Outnumber single men after the age of 34. So depending on the age, and we already know, as y'all say, that's the hit the wall age. So that's why a lot of them are complaining. You get what I'm saying? But
they're complaining, and you see that ratio begin to flip. As I said, see, this right here is where you start to see the mortality rate, right?
Yeah.
34 years old is where you start to see that mortality rate. So men are dying in car accidents, motorcycle accidents. They're dying on the workplace, like when they working in logging and heavy machinery, and they're working in mills. Men are dying from from violence. So that accounts for the higher mortality rate. Then we go to the next milestone. 45 women aged 45 to 64. This is where you begin to see the actual life expectancy. So these are where you're starting to see men dying from heart attacks.
No, but this is the number that they're trying to use as the measure. Listen to what it says. It says, and there are at least 50,000 more single women aged 45 to 64 than men in Atlanta. And this is where your argument is right. Because if you look at the mortality rate from the guys 45 to 64, it's a big difference when you add in what you're saying, violence, when you add in the work, when you add in the ailments men are dying quicker than women. Of course, there's going to be a 50,000. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Of course, there's going to be 50,000 more single women than men if you add in all of those aspects to the actual data. So yeah, so they pick and choose what they want to pull from this stuff and what they want to run with.
Exactly. And again, women are complaining about things that we as men experience all the time, everywhere. All the time, everywhere. We experience these things. This is just a natural part of our life. But she's complaining about, oh, well, I'm in Atlanta and this is no. We see the numbers. We see the numbers. 7. Look at what is this? Where is Savannah, Georgia at? How far is wait, Hinesville? How far is Hinesville from Atlanta?
Probably by 3-4 hours, 3.5, 4 hours.
3-4 hours. Okay, no, okay. So that's a little bit further from.
Yeah, that's
Atlanta.
like going toward like close to South Carolina, like the edge of South Carolina and Florida. And San Francis, she's trying to, the lady that you was talking about, she but is debunking the ratio of men to women the main point? It's part of the point.
Okay. So let me explain this to San Francis. The reason why debunking the ratio of men to women is part of the main point is because she's using that as a rationale to substantiate her claim that dating in Atlanta is difficult. She's saying dating in Atlanta is difficult, and this is part of the reason why. And I'm saying that reason doesn't actually exist. And I'm saying furthermore, San Francis, that she's complaining about dating being hard in Atlanta for women for the same reasons dating is hard for men everywhere. This is what I'm trying to say here. But go ahead, Splash, what you got to say about that?
The thing about it is, from what I see, is that even if dating is hard for you in Atlanta, it's like you got a phone. You dig what I'm saying? I mean, brothers are so thirsty today. Like Atlanta is a few hours from like places like Chattanooga, Tennessee, and shit like that. But you hear a lot of guys often talking about, man, you know, I got this chick, she in the next city over. I'm gonna drive over there this weekend and go kick it with her.
Facts.
So there's really no excuses, you know. And I mean, on the flip side of that, I can understand how difficult it is because, you know, I'm from San Antonio. When I moved to Houston, it's very cliquish over there in Houston. I don't know if it's like that in Atlanta, where it's like if you an out of towner and you didn't come up in a high school over in Houston, you know, you're not from a certain neighborhood, people don't really fuck with you like that. It's all about where did you go to school at.
Okay, but Splash. Now you're saying that, you know, are you saying that from a man's perspective or from?
No, they're like a lot of people. I'm just speaking from an out of towner's perspective because I had a lot of homegirls in Houston, but they weren't from Houston. You know what I'm saying? They were having the same issue. Now, did they have a problem, you know, meeting up with guys and fucking with guys or whatever? No, they didn't have a problem doing that. Were they looking for a particular type of guy? Sure. Or whatever the case may be. You dig what I'm saying? But the thing is her issue is she has a thug problem. That's what she has. She can't tame the thugs. That's her problem. See, a lot of women they complain, and then when you dig into their background, I mean, it's felony after felony after felony who they fucking with. It's felons they fucking with. I'm not shitting on all brothers because some brothers they get caught up in the system when really, you know, you get caught up in the system when you're not even trying to as a black man in America. So, I mean, to a certain degree, I can understand. But they're going for reckless felons. That's who they're going after. You 22 years old, tight, wet, hot box that you have right there, and you got a problem finding somebody. I mean, the thing is that they can't tame the thugs are different in Atlanta. They move different in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? They probably don't put up with her shit. Really, part of that is her because, and no disrespect, but you know, sometimes, you know, coming from how women date and how women talk to each other and how women talk to their man on the East Coast is totally different than how Southern women deal with Southern men. You know what I'm saying? Like people move a little bit faster. Like I grew up with two parents that were raised in New York. All right. Them yelling at each other, that's just their normal conversation. You know what I'm saying? Bitches be yelling down south as well, but it's a little bit different. You dig? And then she's complaining about, what was she complaining about? How, I forgot what she was complaining about, but it seemed like the way she acts or how she moves, a lot of dudes down south ain't really putting up with that shit. Where she's at. It's like, look, either you're gonna be cooperative, and if you're not gonna be cooperative, fuck you. I've seen that in different regions. It don't matter how fine they are. Some men in certain places don't put up with a lot of women's shit because, like, look, I'm a player out here. I can get a few females out here. You, on the other hand, you fine and whatnot, but I'm not really sweating you like that. You dig? And that's a particular type of man that she's chasing after. And those type of men, there's a handful of women chasing after the same men out there. Now, the educated brother
that was her complaint. She was saying that she kept running like as she keeps saying, keep running into the same men. But again, like I was saying earlier, these women in particular that are complaining, they consistently pursue the same small circle of men. They consistently pursue the same small circle of men, ignoring all the other eligible bachelors that are out there. They instead focus on a small group of men. So if we focus on a small group of men, right, and these men feel like they don't have to do a whole lot to get your attention because you're pursuing them, well, they're going to take advantage of that situation. It's human nature, and they're obviously going to date multiple women. Right. And you have to understand that as a woman, that when you're dating a man that is in high demand, you're going to be sharing that man. That's just the way it is.
Right. And another thing is, one thing is, to play the devil's advocate, it could be a difference of culture. But at the same time, women, they like to tell the half truths about a lot of shit they're complaining about.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You dig? So let's look at somebody like a Marquise Brownlee. Very popular. He does tech reviews on the internet. Black dude. He's tall. He's like 6'2", 6'3". What does he have? Like 7 or 8 million followers on YouTube. Very popular. I don't see no black women making him the MCM. On Instagram, Twitter, you don't see black women chasing after somebody like that. Very successful, has his own shit. People, he has sponsors, making real good money. But the brothers who just, they're square, they into tech and all that, you don't see no black women around them at all. And I'm not saying all, but it's like, I see what a lot of women chase after. What she's complaining about, she wouldn't be complaining if she just liked a regular square brother because they're everywhere.
Oh, let me turn it down. I'm going back to this woman's page because she just responded to one of my comments.
What's her page name? I want to see what she look like.
Yuchinana. And she just responded. I'm gonna tell her, hey, I'm gonna be straight up. I'm telling her that we're talking about her right now.
How you spell that?
Uchenana.
Okay. Oh, okay. She smoked. Hold on. Oh, okay. Nah. Hold on, man. Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh.
You see her?
Well, wait a minute. Oh no, I see why she's having a difficult time. She's average. That's why. She average.
See, now hold on. See, I don't want to say that. I want to leave that. I kind of described her. I just tried to be objective and describe her, like her characteristics, and then let you be the judge of what how you would rate her. But if you say that she's average, hey, I'm not going to argue with that. But she's not. I will say that she's not ugly. She's not an ugly woman.
Yeah, and I'm not the type to shit on women. I don't want to do that. But to give this woman an honest rating, because I'm watching this video of her in the gym, I would have to give her like a 5.5 to a 6. I would have to, because a 6 is
above average.
A 6 is passing in certain states. Now in Texas, a 6 is failing. You got to make a 70 or better. So in certain, by way of like California standards, other standards where 6 is passing, I would say a 6 because I see her. She's in the weight room. She's educated. That she got her degree. She's trying to bring something to the table. So I give her that.
But now we got to go to the chat real quick because Ken 82 Draw made a poignant argument. He says he's not exciting, unpredictable, or dysfunctional enough for them to be attracted to him. That's facts. Ken 82 Draw. Respect to you, brother. Hold on for a second. Junk Pal Video. Junk Pal Video is in the building. And I got to stop the show for a second. I got to give respect to Junk Pal Video. And Junk Pal, you're welcome to join the chat if you want to. Just let me know, and I'll send you the link. Junk Pal Video is partly responsible for me making my own channel because I didn't know how to convert videos and all the things I need to upload content and things of that nature. Junk Pal pointed me in the right direction. He really helped me out getting my channel started. So respect to Junk Pal Video. Respect to Junk Pal Video. If you're in the chat right now, if you're watching, click on this icon. If you click on this icon, it'll give you the opportunity to go to his channel. Go to Junk Pal Video's channel and subscribe to that brother right there. Subscribe to Junk Pal Video. He has a lot of good content.
I have to agree with Junk Pal Video. She's nothing to brag about, and I'm not sure. I mean, if she messaged me on a dating site or she came up to me and we had a conversation out in public, would I go on a date with her? Absolutely. I would accept her invitation if she asks, for me to go on a date. I would, just to see what she's talking about. I would meet up with her, but best believe I wouldn't tolerate any disrespect. Best believe I ain't tolerating shit. But yeah, I would definitely meet up with her. I'm not saying she's not ugly, but we don't know her attitude because what she's presenting, she's putting her best foot forward out there. We don't know how she acts at all. A lot of women, they act like they don't, they're not rude, they're not disrespectful. They never do anything. That's how they put it. And then when you get all these other men's perspectives, when you get the word from the guys that she's dealt with, it's some other shit that what she's talking about. So
exactly, yeah. You're never gonna get the full account.
Yeah, so I don't know, but if she was like, "Hey, we should meet up sometime," I would say yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. She looks like a cool woman. I mean, she's just disillusioned as all women. Like I don't think that her perspective is unique. I think that a lot of women feel exactly the way she feels. I think a lot of women have exactly the same perspective that she has. But I just think that the reason why I'm making this video is because it's not necessarily to address her, even though it is addressing her.
Right.
It's addressing women in general because she represents, and she even said it. She represents a lot of women. She actually does. She's not just saying that. A lot of women feel exactly the way she does. But I have to debunk her because, as we know, Yesh, you want to chime in on this. Women, they skew numbers because it appeals to their emotions and the emotions of their audience. So you can't go like if you're trying to argue with a woman, right? And you start spewing out facts. She's gonna totally disregard the facts and say, no, well, I don't like this because of that. And now her argument will have no basis in logic and reasoning whatsoever. But she's gonna argue that point Argue that point until you finally just say, you know what, just whatever. You're just gonna give up because she's not gonna stop. Even though she has no facts to back up or substantiate her claims, she's gonna stick to her guns and say, no, it's this way because. And it's all BS, it's all emotion. Yes, what do you think about that? Yes, might have stepped away. Go ahead, Splash.
Yeah, but I mean, look, one thing about her, man, is like, you know, their emotions, like what she's speaking for women in a sense where she's saying like, hey, I speak for women when I say that it's hard finding a man, this, that, and the third. You guys don't understand what we go through, yada yada yada. But how is it like a lot of black women, a lot of single black women are saying this shit? But how is it that all these white women and Latino women and Asian women somehow manage to find the good brothers? How do they do it?
This is how. I'm gonna tell you, Splash. And I said that I addressed this earlier in the video. I think the problem with black women is that they try to cater to a beauty standard that isn't theirs. Black women, I believe, need to embrace their own beauty. Black women, Asian women, Hispanic women, they're all different women and they're all beautiful in their own regards. But don't try to be beautiful as from a white woman's perspective if you're black. Like when black women try to get these long blonde weaves like white women and try to get, blue contacts, green contacts, that's not your natural eye color, or they try to do stuff to lighten their skin, whether it be foundation or they just, these things, that's not what makes you as a black woman. Like you're never going to be able to compete with a black. It's almost like if I'm going to try to outrun a cheetah. A cheetah is engineered to run. It's the fastest land mammal on the planet. For me to try to outrun a cheetah, I can't even outrun a horse. Why would I try to outrun a cheetah? It makes no sense, right? So what I would try to do is outsmart a cheetah. Let me play into my own attributes. What makes me superior in particular aspects? I'm not superior to a cheetah physically. I'm superior to a cheetah mentally, right? So if you, as a black woman, you're not going to be, and it's not like a superior thing. It's just a whole different measurement. It's like metric versus centimeters. Metric isn't better than centimeters. It's just a different unit of measure. So if you see what I'm saying? Black women and white women are on different scales. It's not one is higher than the other. It's just a different unit of measure. It's metric versus standard.
I don't think the reason why that it's difficult for them to find a man because they're trying to their standard of beauty. They're trying to go with a different standard of beauty. I don't believe that because that's that would be saying like the average brother has standards out here because a brother will say, hey, they'll say some bullshit like, these women out here wearing weaves and color contacts, whatever. I don't like that. But then go fucking obese. They'll go fucking obese white woman.
I stand corrected, Splash. Go ahead. You're right. You made a good point. Go ahead.
All that doesn't bother brothers at all.
You're right. You're right.
You know what I'm saying? All cats want is they want cooperation.
Exactly.
And the thing is it's always, it's just a combative relationship most of the time. I want to say, look, let me just be, it's always some sort of combative relationship whenever, I'll say black people get together.
Tension. It's tension.
It's tension.
Tension.
And, when a man and a woman get together but what there is, there's a little bit of truth that you did say because while black women are trying to compete to a certain level of beauty, it's kind of like you're trying to distance yourself from how you naturally look. So when you get with a man who is black and then you have a child, it's like you are going to have a child that basically looks the opposite in the direction that you're trying to go into. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have a child who naturally
hold on for a second. Hold on for a second, Splash. Yeah. Uchi Nana is in the chat right now. Now, Uchi Nana, it's kind of difficult to have dialogue with somebody in the chat because there's a delay. I don't know if you're aware of that, but there's a delay between the Google Hangouts and the actual live chat. Let me speak into the microphone. Uchi Nana, there's a delay between the Google Hangouts sound and what comes up in the actual video chat. What you're actually listening to now is probably about 15 seconds old. So it's difficult to have dialogue with somebody in the chat.
Yeah, so it's longer than 15 seconds. It's about a minute old.
Okay. So with that being said, you're more than welcome to join the panel. This is not a bashing. And I know you missed the first part of my stream, but I wanted to make sure that people understood that you are to be respected because it's not a personal attack on you. It's a it's an attack on your particular perspective because I think that it is skewed. Obviously, I'm a man, you're a woman, so we're going to have a difference in opinion. But again, it's nothing personal. I do think you have a very nice channel. I do think you have a very nice presentation. I did like your video. Just because I don't agree with some of the things you said doesn't mean I can't like your video. So if you want to join the panel, just let me know. I will, if you can put your email, your Google email, your Google Hangouts, I can send you a link because I'd rather talk to you.
Sam,
as opposed to talking about you.
Sam, I hate when people say, oh, you're attacking women to be the same. Sam, we did not shit on that woman. We didn't shit on her. We're just talking about, you know, because her talking points in that video, we hear that all the time. We've been hearing that for years.
All the time.
Okay. So it's not so much about her. We use the video and we didn't even show images of her video, anything. Sure, we gave the name. But the thing is, we didn't bash that woman at all. We're just bringing up pretty much, you know, like we're just bringing up talking points that she made that we hear all the time and basically dissecting what's really the hidden truth behind what she's saying.
And I
don't
actually
know her situation. Go ahead.
I actually encouraged people to go to her channel and subscribe. I actually encourage that because I think it's good to have people with differences of opinion so we can come together and say, hey, okay, you feel this way, I feel this way. Let's find a common ground. That's called making progress.
Super Trish.
What's going on?
You and Splash are being very nice and cordial. I get it. But when I did the video on her, so all that cordial, and I showed her face on the screen. So all that cordial, she does content on YouTube. You do content, somebody's going to take your video. When that dude took my video and talked about me, I didn't go over to his channel. I didn't hop, skip, and jump and cry like a baby and say, why? I said, he did a video. Hey, he's going to get me followers. Who cares?
Right, so it's public domain.
You guys are being nice.
Well, you know, Yesh.
Is there another video? Hell yeah, it is. And I went in on you. But his platform, I'm not going to do that because I respect his platform. No, I ain't linking you.
Okay, hold on for a second. Uchi Nana, can you please leave your email in the chat, Google Hangouts or your Google Plus, name, so that way we can send you a link so you can come on the chat and you can actually speak. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to.
But yes does have a point because once you upload anything to the internet, it's public domain and it's no longer yours. So people have the free will to make a comment, respond by video. So I do agree with what Yesh is saying.
Hold on for a second, Splash. Uchi Nana, put your email in the chat right now, and I will send you the link so you can come on and actually talk on the panel with us.
Super Trez, I'm sorry, but she's not going to do that.
No, she's asking me for it.
No, she's
Why
asking,
don't you put your email in there?
Me for my video, my channel. That's what she's asking. She want to see why did I go in on her. She wants to watch my video.
Junk Pal, you sent me an email? Hold on for a second. Junk Pal must have sent me what? Let me see here for a second. Because Junk Pal, I think Junk Pal wanted to get on this.
You should put your email in there so she could get it.
No, what I want Uchi Nana to do is to put her email in there, and then actually, Yesh, if she comes on the panel, you can say whatever you said on your video to her live and direct.
Oh, so I don't have a problem with that.
We can kill all the conjecture right now, and we can actually talk to each other, and then we could be respectful, and we could allow each other to speak without interrupting one another. Uchinana, you're welcome to come on the panel. All I need is your email. I will send you the link via Google Hangouts, and you can come on this panel and you can say your piece, or you can, give clarity to the things you said, because let me see.
I told you she's not going to do it. She just said it.
See, let me tell you what's not progressive, Uchinana. See, what's not progressive is making a claim, but not wanting to receive criteria or scrutiny for your allegations and claims. That's not progressive. That's not productive. See, if I say something, I stand by it. And if somebody comes and they debunk me, I say, you know what? You're right. Flash just debunked me earlier. Just a couple minutes ago, he said something that contradicted something that I said. And I said, you know what, Splash, you're right. I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. So this is not what this is about. This is not a personal attack. It's not meant to be disrespectful. See, disrespectful is if I would have went under your video and left comment after comment after comment, trashing you. I didn't do that. What I did was I said, hey, I don't agree with your video, but I respect you. No, actually, I said respect first and foremost. That's the first thing I said. That's the first comment I said. I said respect, but I don't agree with your videos, and I will have to address it on my channel. You're welcome to come join me. That's what I said. Now, if that's not being respectful and that's not trying to be productive, I don't know what is.
Hey, Super Trez, can I say something real quick or no?
Go ahead. Speak, Yesh.
Oh, okay, let's just talk about this.
Let me try to get Junk Pal video on.
Since 2010, women in the workforce is 123 million women aged 16 and over in the workforce. That's 72 million, or 58.6%, were in the labor force participants working or looking forward to work, right? Women comprised of 47% of the total U.S. labor force. Now, this is saying that they're focused on careers. This was in 2010 numbers. So picture now, right? The numbers have risen, or rose, or whatever you want to say, right? So now think about it. Men are confused because women for years have said they're concerned with their careers. I don't worry about no man. I don't want no relationship. Many women, not all. Again, we don't speak in absolutes on none of these platforms that I frequent, right? And Super Trez, I'm sure you concur. Splash, I'm sure you concur. But think about that. So now you're saying you're focused on your careers, you're focused on it. Then you have women like her who are now coming along and saying that careers are good, I got my degree, but I want a relationship at 25 years old. Well, many of the 25 years old for the past 18 years or 8 years, let's just say 8 years. Hello? Yeah, for the past 8 years have said they want to focus on their careers. So now fellas are like, hold up. Yeah, I had it where y'all want to focus on your careers for the past 8 years. Now all of a sudden you want relationships. We're confused. Think about this. They comprised this study, right? Or taking about 2,000 or a little bit less than that, and asking them, right? Doing a survey study, asking them. They said, what are your top 3 priorities for your life? Right? 40% said living on their own. Nothing to do with a relationship. Nothing. And these are women ranging from age 30, even older than her, 5 years from her, ranging from age 30 to 45. Now, these women are past their so-called prime and have hit the wall, right? 40% of them said living on their own. 34% said establishing a career. 27% said financial security. Those were their top 3 things. Nothing about a relationship, nothing about a man. And they've done these studies all across America. And the results are almost the same. You see what I'm saying? So men are confused. Like, remember when the rap videos came?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Before you say that, Yesh, I want to throw something in there.
Yeah.
The reason why there shouldn't be any confusion, because when they transition from those particular desires to actually wanting a relationship, the reason why they want the relationship with the man is for finances. But I'll let you go ahead.
Oh, but I'm still saying men are confused. They're still confused. Let's just be, because these men are like, hold up, you want a career now? We don't want no careers, because many of the guys that they want don't want them. Let's just be real. But Splash, I'm pretty sure you could agree with this.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Remember when the video era hit? You remember Luke and all of them? Next year they had dark-skinned women in there. They said, oh, we don't want dark-skinned women in these videos shaking their butts. They said, okay, we're going to go to the lighter tone women. They went to the lighter. Oh, were you making you misogynistic? Then they said, okay, what is it that you want? You get what I'm saying? So they said, oh, well, we're going to go to really ambiguous, like, we're going to make it seem like as though you can't tell a race of these women. And then they was like, oh, we just don't want them in there, period. You know how many women they put out of jobs? But they didn't care about that. It was only on their agenda for them hating on. But again, black men don't control media. So she said in her video, we're discussing her video. She said in her video that why black women are on the lower totem pole, and she didn't even use lower. She said totem pole, right? Why? But I'm gonna say it for her. Why black women on the bottom of the totem? Then she said interracial relationships. Well, if black men don't control the media, and all of these years they haven't controlled the media, who is portraying black women in this dim light? We're talking about her video now. We're not talking about anything else. We're talking about her video.
But guess what, Yesh? I actually addressed that particular statement at the beginning of my feed. I said the imagery that we see of black women is perpetuated by black women. Love and Hip Hop, black women. Married to Medicine, black women. What's the other one? What's the other one? Not Love and Hip Hop. What's the other one? Housewives of Atlanta, Housewives of whatever state you want to call it. Black women. All these videos we see on World Star Hip Hop and the Grand Report, it's black women. Granted, there are some black men acting a fool too. I'm not denying that. But what we're talking about right now is the actual quote unquote branding of black women. This is what I said in earlier in the stream. I said there's an issue with the branding of black women. If women were to be considered as an entity or a corporation, there's an actual marketing that occurs, whether they want to address it or not. We as black men, we may share some responsibility in that negative marketing by putting certain women in the videos, engaging in certain activities. Yes. But a lot of the women are doing that by themselves. They go on these reality TV shows and they're doing that by themselves for a check. They do it all the women, the female rappers.
Wait, can I say something real quick?
Go ahead. Yes, I'm sorry.
Somebody just put in the chat, but you are consumers of that media. No, the fuck we not.
Oh yeah, we don't watch that crap.
Listen, the number one buyers of cable television are women. Women don't even support WNBA basketball. They rather come over to men's sports. That's why the numbers of the male sport have risen, because of women. And that's why they're trying to do little things that implement women into the conversation in sports, because they're getting that money. Men don't spend money on certain. There's a low number of things men spend money on. Women are the media guys. Women are why you think they do diamond commercials? They don't do diamond commercials for men. They do diamond commercials for women. Why do you think they do clothes commercials? Why do you think they do fabric softener commercials? Why do you think they do it? They do all of this stuff for women. Women are the largest consumers in America. If women stop buying, America will fall. It will fall. Go ahead, my bad.
No, that's fine. You know what? We got Junk Pal Video. Respect to this man. Anybody that's in the chat right now, Junk Pal Video. Ken82 Draw, can you do me a favor? Can you link Junk Pal Video's channel in the chat? Anybody that's in the chat right now, please check out Junk Pal Video. Subscribe to him so you can get the notifications. He puts out some great content. Junk Pal Video, what do you think of what we said thus far?
Well, I didn't catch the beginning of the video, the live stream. So what is the topic about to start off with?
So the topic is, there's a young lady by the name of Uchinana.
Mm-hmm.
She has a channel. She has a great looking channel, as a matter of fact. On her channel, she's addressing various topics from her perspective, a woman's perspective, right? And she talked about the dating scene in Atlanta. And she talks about the trials and the tribulations of, that she experienced dating in Atlanta. I think that her perspective obviously is going to be biased because she's a woman, so it's going to be biased. Just like my perspective is male biased. But there's some things that they just weren't rational. She basically said that the dating in Atlanta is hard because the higher proportion of women to men, and she's quoted a statistic of there being 9 women to every man. And we debunked that. We did the research. We pulled up the actual raw data. It's actually 1.1 women to every man, according to the statistics in Atlanta.
Was that
that's for younger, as the age grows, as the age progresses. As the age progresses, we see that ratio. But for younger men in her age bracket, we're talking about men ages 18 and 25. The actual men outnumber the women. So these are just various things that, and so basically, she was also talking about the small circle of men that she finds the circle of people that she interacts with is small, and so people that she associates with, she finds out that they're all dating the same men. But it's like, this is what women inherently do. Women congregate around a small group of men and ignore every other man, all the other eligible bachelors, and act as though that there's no men out there. But this is because women are congregating around the same men. We see the statistics when we look at the actual birth rates, right? The amount of men who don't have children versus the amount of women. There's more men who are childless than there are women. So what does that tell you? That means that there's a lot of men who aren't having kids. So we know that women are essentially sharing men. This is what's going on. So when they complain about there's no men out there, that is a lie. There's plenty of men out there. These women are just making conscious decisions not to entertain them. So this is what I was talking about. Basically, I was going through things in her video and just debunking some of the things that she said, because it just wasn't true. And so then what I did was, I made Junk Pal Video. I made a comment under her video, and I was very respectful. I said, hey, respect to you. That was the first thing I said. Respect to you. Great looking channel. I see a lot of potential, but there's some things I don't agree with, and I'm going to have to make a video. I let her know before I even made the video. Before I even started the stream, I said, hey, I'm going to be making the video, because I don't do that sneak behind the back nonsense. That's not what I'm about. I'm going to let you know what I'm talking about.
I get you there. You know, I kind of perused her channel as you were speaking about it, and
Okay.
really, it's just face value. We really can't say anything, you know. But based on what you were talking about before, and I said, you know, she's not much to look at, or whatever my comment was basically if she's going off of looks, then I'd have to agree with myself with the comment that I made. But you know, there's this thing called inner beauty, and if we actually think about that, every woman's got some type of inner beauty. A lot of it is ugly, and it may look good on the outside, but it don't look good on the inside, and we all know what comes of it. Now, as far as the stats where there's more women than men, that 9-to-1 ratio, maybe there was a study. Maybe that was their study. What I would actually, you know, have some of you guys probably do is go and check different studies on the same subject just for the city of Atlanta. Now, you come up with a study, it sounds like, you know, there's almost as equal amount of men as there is women, but I have heard from numerous channels, numerous hangouts, people calling in, people saying that they live in Atlanta, usually men. I have some that said 14-to-1, 8-to-1, 6-to-1. You know, it always seems to be more women than men, as according to the conversation. So, are they going off the same research that she's going off of? Is this something that they all learned in school when they were in high school?
It's urban legend.
Okay.
It's urban legend because
so
I've researched this.
Urban legend even come about? I mean, how did that even get started?
Oh, and I explained that because it probably started off with like somebody probably pulled out the actual raw data, and the raw data probably says something like, okay, there's maybe, you know, three women to every 2 men, and then the person who got that message, they took it and ran with it. Then they start saying, oh, it's because they want to sound impressive to their people. Because, you know, people like if I say, oh, I live here, oh, this is the place to be, I'm gonna confabulate. I'm going to exaggerate. I'm going to say, oh, man, it's 3 women every 1 man. And then somebody's going to say, oh, man, it's 4 women every 1 man. And then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. I've heard that 14-to-1. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, hell no, I'm moving to Atlanta right now. That's what I said when I heard that. I said, I'm moving to Atlanta right now. And I was like, and when I said I'm going to move, I was ready to move, Junk Pile Video. I did the research and I found out that it was all bullshit. I actually looked at different CDC. I looked at all different sources. This was like maybe about 4 years ago before I moved up here to Seattle, because I was in Houston and I know I wanted to relocate. And then I started hearing stuff about Atlanta. Like, well, wait a minute, let me look into Atlanta. And I did the research, and it was all BS. I mean, there are more women to men, but definitely not. There's about 80,000 more women than there are men in Atlanta. But we have to take in consideration that the population of Atlanta is like 463,000. So what that's going to be equivalent to is a ratio of about 1.1 women to every man.
That's interesting. I thought Atlanta would be much bigger in population. That's about the same.
Well, you're talking about Atlanta proper.
Well, you know, just by what you said, you know, men are a lot more likely to move and make moves, whether it has to do with economics or, you know, they just want to blend in another place so they can feel better about moving from one place to another. My dad was always a person who couldn't stay in one place. I've met more men who move and do things and make moves than women do. And so if a lot of men are going to Atlanta based off some of the stuff that you were just saying, I could see that happening. I could see where that would be urban legend. And then eventually, if there is more men that will end up there moving, then of course there's not going to be enough women for the men. And it'd be something like Alaska, where there's actually proof in Alaska where there's 8 men to, you know, every 1 woman. That is true up there. No,
well, that's because a lot of men move to Alaska for economic reasons.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I've actually done the research on Alaska too, and there really is. Now, Yesh, I want y'all to listen to this. When Junk Pal Video says there's 8 men to every 1 woman in Alaska, he's not lying. I did the research. At one time, there was like 10-to-1 in North Dakota when they had the big oil boom. Remember when they had that?
Yep.
They actually had to bring prostitutes. The actual local law enforcement was allowing prostitutes to come from other states because the men started getting aggressive and violent with each other because there was just not enough women to go around. This is how bad. So when we say statistics, we actually have to be able to substantiate that, actually pull some raw data. But go ahead, Junk Pal.
Yeah, and another thing too, I've noticed. See, I worked in Alaska a few times, for a couple years, and what I have noticed is definitely there's a lot more men. But what I've also noticed is that when you don't have enough women amongst the men have more violent tendencies.
Absolutely.
They're more violent tendencies. They go off easier because there's not a balance of the estrogen between all the testosterone. And I've always heard that as I always thought it was bullshit until you actually go to a place where you actually see this. It is true, and that you could contribute that to prisons. The prison population, the male population, is very violent. There is no women. Of course, they can't be there, but we all know the reasons why. But if you see it out in public, like in Alaska, you understand that there needs to be quite an even balance. Now, as far as the women too complaining about the men in Atlanta, being the gay mecca of the black community, whatever. That's what a lot of people have been telling me, because here in Portland, where I'm at, it's the second highest gay population outside of San Francisco.
Facts. Say that again, Junk Pile Video, because we got a lot of people that just throwing stuff out there and they don't know what they're talking about. Say that one more time, Junk Pile.
Portland, Oregon, where I'm at right now, has the second highest dense population of homosexuals outside of the city of San Francisco. It is not Atlanta. Maybe Atlanta is a third, but it is not Atlanta.
I don't even think it's the third. It's not even the third. It's not the third. I know that for a fact because I can't remember the exact order, but I know Atlanta is not the third for sure. It's some other city.
So that's basically all I was going to come on and say and stuff like that. But yeah, I always heard that. I've heard Chris Law make comments towards that. If you all know Chris Law, he's from Atlanta, lives in Atlanta. I did. So if it's urban legend, then that the subject is pretty much closed to me.
Okay, now I'm about to pass the mic to Yesh because he has something to say, but I just want to say one thing in response to what you said. And this is very, very important. You spoke of the men becoming more violent in the absence of women.
Mm-hmm.
And I also mentioned that in North Dakota, how the local law enforcement, and this is an account that I got from people who are actually on ground zero. The local law enforcement was kind of, turning the blind eye to, because there were droves when they realized how many men were up there. These pimps were bringing these women cross country to North Dakota, and the law enforcement was letting it. Totally changed the landscape for a little while there when they had that big oil. I don't know if it was shale oil boom, whatever was going on. Where it was getting
fracking, getting oil out of
fracking one. There you go.
Yeah,
getting that oil, right? And so they brought all these prostitutes in, and because they allowed the prostitutes to be brought in because it made their job easier because these men were getting aggressive in the absence of women. So this is the point I want to make. When we look at scenarios, social settings, and I use club because that's easy for everybody to identify of all age brackets, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at a club and you see the violence in there, in the clubs, fightings, all that stuff that's going on in the club, right? But you say, well, there's plenty of women in the club. Yes, there are. But when women aren't responsive to men, it's almost like the women aren't even there. If you try to talk to them and they don't respond to you, they might as well not even be women in the club. So these men are going to behave in such a manner that, again, they're in a situation where the men greatly outnumber women, even though there may be more women in there than men. Because the women are not responsive, the men behave in a manner as though if there aren't hardly any women in there, and they become aggressive with each other. This is the reason why clubs try to let, especially the clubs with the doormen, they try to let more women in than men. They do that for a specific reason because they want to curtail the violence that goes on in the club. Because they have to account for the fact that there's going to be some women that might as well not even be there because they're not going to be responsive to the majority of the men.
Yeah, they also make a little more profit. I think you know that the men are going to go in there and buy the drinks for all those ladies, so it's going to make up for that.
Or they're going to buy drinks to show off to the ladies. Let me buy a bottle real quick because there's women up in there.
Yep.
But yes, what you have to say about that? I know you were trying to say something. I'm sorry.
No, I basically said everything I wanted to say. I just wanted to get what was the basis of the live today, and then I'll just get my feet on it because I thought the stats were a little interesting. I've heard it many times before. And like I said, you know, with what you brought out and stuff like that, it's pretty much a closed case to me, because I get sick and tired of here in Atlanta is always being the mecca of all these women who are available to men. And, you know, and everybody seems to want to move there because it's the mecca of this or the mecca of that right now. But if that's the case, and that's the only reason you're going there is because of the women, then shit, you might as well just stick with where you're at. If there's going to be a lot more women where you're at than in Atlanta, just stay where you're at. If that's the sole reason. If it's economic, then go there. You know, but hell, men usually don't move to other locations because of women. They usually move because of economic reasons or because of education.
Like I moved here because of education and economics. I'm in school full time. I came out here specifically to learn a specialty. I'm specializing in vascular access, and I'm actually going to school simultaneously. That's the reason why I moved out here. It wasn't because of women.
Right, because you can pretty much get women pretty much anywhere you go.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line fact right there.
Now, Yesh, Yonas, are you still in the building?
Yo, what up, my dude?
I know you were trying to say something. I'm sorry, I got long-winded.
No, I wasn't. We pretty much listen. The argument wasn't about how many is in Atlanta and this and that. That was just one aspect of it. She's talking about. She mentioned her education twice or more.
Yeah.
She's mentioned every video they do the same thing. There's arguments are the same, and men are starting to sound repetitive on their arguments with women. So all of this is like a circular arguments from platform to platform. Some cats want to get it out. But we specifically talking about what she said in her video. When I have a video and people do videos on it, let them say what they want to say, because I said things in particular that people might not agree with, or that some of my points may be vague. So they might be want to attack. There are times where they want to attack my vague points. So I'm saying that what she's saying is a lot of vague talk. It's circular talk, and we've heard it before. So it can easily be debunked. So it's like, and she thought coming here that nobody's supposed to speak on her. Then you have I guess women from her channel or her friends coming over to defend her honor by saying, moving the goalposts from one argument to the other. Now you're attacking her looks. Nobody's attacking. We saying men like attractive women. That I don't get that.
And we never said she wasn't attractive.
But, hey, y'all said she wasn't attractive.
No one here said that she wasn't attractive. No one here said that she wasn't attractive.
But I'm saying, you guys said she wasn't attractive. You didn't ask me. I didn't give my.
Okay, so yes, give your opinion if you don't mind.
Listen. If I saw her in the street and she was handing me $100 bill, I would continue walking.
You ain't gonna bust a Yui.
Oh my God!
You ain't gonna bust a Yui in the intersection.
I'm not doing any of that. We fail to realize the male nature. This is what I'm saying: man nature, human male nature. We
honestly. I'm gonna be honest. Yes.
What we do as men just so to appease women. She's not attractive. She got blue contacts in. She got all of this rubber band smelling. That's not what a lot of guys are attracted to who've traveled. The men that she want, again, we're talking about her video. We're not attacking her. The men that she said she want to attract were busters. The ones that she got out of relationships with, they weren't quality, as what she says in her video. So the men that she do want, that have these jobs and careers and doing all what she wants in particular, those guys are not going to look to her as being attractive. Let's just be real, especially if they've traveled to different countries, especially if they've met different women all over the place, especially if they have a certain type of body type. You get what I'm saying? And then looking at her videos, we just going off of what she's saying. Looking at her videos, in my opinion, now this is not the whole panel, this is just my opinion. After me being around certain countries, right? Me leaving America, I don't see her as attractive from my male viewpoint. Now, these guys on here, they might find you attractive. They might very well be attracted to you, but I'm not attracted to you. I'm just not. But I'm saying that all of her points, she's missing what the men that she want equate for being a whole woman. And one of them is physical look. So we could get on everything. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm just not. I just don't like her, but I don't want to sound redundant or be repetitive, but somebody else could step in.
Well, I'll say that, from my perspective, I don't like the contact lenses. I don't like the blue contact lenses. They don't even, because when somebody wears blue contact lenses and they already have dark eyes, it never looks right, because like the underlying darkness of your eyes, it gives, because when you look at somebody who has naturally blue eyes, their eyes are somewhat transparent. The actual lens of the eyes is kind of transparent. You kind of see through it a little bit. Whereas when they have the contacts, if you're trying to have blue contacts, you're trying to make your eyes a different color, because the underlying color of your eyes is brown. The lens that goes over it has to be opaque, so that way the brown doesn't show through. And because that lens is actually opaque, it gives it a weird appearance. It gives it an unusual appearance, an unnatural appearance, because it lacks the depth. If you really look at somebody's eye up close, there's actual depth. When you look at somebody's eyes who wears contact lenses, that eye no longer has depth. It has the color, but it no longer has that depth. And they try to simulate that depth with some type of pattern on the actual contact, but it just doesn't look natural. That's the reason why I don't think that she should be wearing the contacts personally, because I think she would look better without the contacts. But now, one last thing before I go to Splash, because we definitely got to get his input on this. But what I think is going to happen, because she came here to this channel, and she said some comments in the chat, and I offered her opportunity to come on the channel, right? And I'm glancing at the channel. I'm glancing at the chat. I'm not really like reading it intently, but I'm trying to glance at it and then trying to say what I want to say. But Yesh actually looked at it, and he actually read it, and he noticed, I think you did too, Splash, you noticed that she was evading me. She really didn't want to come on the channel. She wanted to, hop in the chat, and basically she wanted to see what we were talking about. Then she wanted to get the link to your video, Yes, so she could see what you was talking about.
Yeah,
why?
And her minions are coming over here. So that Nika, listen, we ain't hiding behind no avies, whatever that is, avatars, whatever you try to say. I have a whole channel. I don't need to hide from any of you. I don't have a problem getting vagina in Georgia. It's easy. It's not hard. You guys act as if this shit is hard. So I'm not hiding behind any. I got a channel. You can see my face on plenty of videos. I don't care. That's the problem with you. She on her videos talking about dating. I don't want to date any of you. I have foreign women who shit on you. So I'm good. I'm good. So, but my bad.
Okay.
I'm not on my channel. My bad. I apologize, bro.
Let me just do something real quick. Hold on for a second, Splash, because now, Ken 82 draw. I know you quick on the trigger, but do not time her out. Don't time her out. We're gonna let her live today. But what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna hold on. Let me get this right. Let me just do this real quick. Because people think that I'm hiding behind an AVI. I'm not hiding. I have videos posted right now that have my imagery on it. But I'm not marketing myself right now. That's not what I'm trying to do. Because when I look at other people's videos, sometimes it looks like they're trying to market themselves, and they're trying to sell their image. I'm not trying to sell my image. I'm not trying to portray my particular image of self. I'm portraying my viewpoint and my perspective. This is the reason why I'm on the chat. So I don't think my image is important. I don't think me showing myself is important. I just don't think it is. But since you think that I'm hiding, as though if I don't stand behind what I'm saying, now let me let you see me. Now you see who I am and what I look like. Now you can put an actual face to the avatar. I have no reason to hide because I actually believe what it is that I'm saying. See, the people that hide are people that don't believe what they're saying. And the reason why I even entertained and addressed Uchinana is because I had some respect for her. I still do. And as I said before, it's not a personal attack. I think a lot of women share her perspective. That's the reason why I addressed it. If I felt that she was the only one that thought the way that she did, it wouldn't be worth my time because she'd be a standalone. She'd be an outlier in the realm of statistics. She'd be an outlier, but she's not an outlier. She represents probably the median as far as perspective. This is what a lot of women think. So this is the reason why I made this post, and I have some friends on here with me because I want to debunk it. Now, I want to get people who had a different opinion because sometimes me and Splash, we have differences of opinion. But I think on certain things regarding this video, we can agree on that is not based in fact. It's based in conjecture and rumor. And we brought forth some facts, some actual statistics to debunk what it was that she said. So for everybody else that's in the chat that may come in later on, and you think that I'm hiding because I don't have my video showing, here I am. And this isn't the first time. Check my videos. You'll see my face in some of my other videos too. But I think it's better to not show my face because number one, my message is what is important, what I'm saying. Number two, I think the actual performance is a lot better, you know, when the video is not showing because you have to think about the actual uploading bandwidth when you're actually doing live streamings. And I noticed that a lot of people who have live streams that try to do their video when they're doing live streams, sometimes there's interruptions in the actual video feed and you lose a lot of the sound. That's because there's bandwidth restrictions. So I'd rather not have my actual video feed as long as you hear my sound because that's what's important. And on that note, I'm going to turn off my camera now that you've seen me, and we're going to let Splash get on the check-in real quick.
Yeah. Well, Nika, you know, I had to put on timeout for a little bit, 300 seconds. But, you know, getting back to Uchinana, and I mean, I didn't really get to listen to the whole video. I caught bits and pieces of what you played, of what she said. And, you know, I listened to your commentary on it. And basically, I mean, it's the same argument that most women have, but it's a half truth. It's hard for you to date because the men that you want don't want you. Okay.
Hold on. Rewind. I need you to say that again, slowly, Splash, because I don't want people to act like they didn't hear what you just said.
Well, women, they tell half truths when they're complaining about something, and they may have a legitimate gripe, but it's always a half truth. It's always, they always say it in such a way to make it seem like there's nothing wrong with them and they're putting their best foot forward. And like you said, there is bias there, but they tell the half truths and they expect everybody to sympathize with them. But the thing is, in her situation, is she's talking about her education and what she feels like you deserve. It don't matter. Like everybody, I feel like everybody deserves somebody. Everybody should deserve, you know, to be able to afford a place to live and be able to drive a vehicle and take care of themselves and their family. But shit don't work out that way. Some people have character flaws or whatever. Now I don't know this young lady or whatever, but if you're saying, going by what Yesh said, if you said that you're used to dating busters or whatever, or she always attracts the lames on the buses, you got to look at yourself. You know what I'm saying? Some women, they got squares trying to holler at them, and there's nothing wrong with being a square. You know, educated. You just showed a video of yourself and you had your scrubs on. I talked about Marquise Brownlee. We talk about lawyers, doctors, you know, shit like that. I don't see women like her going after these men unless it's just for their money, to take advantage of them, to use them, to shit on them. But, you know, as far as the men that she's used to dealing with, from what it sounds like, You like dealing with the trash. You like nurturing the trash. You like, coddling the trash. And that's what I see all the time. And I mean, she's lucky she don't have kids, because that's a trail. The father of the child shows proof of what type of men these women like to get with.
Facts.
What type of men these women like to have children with. That's why when I see a woman that has a child, I always ask, okay, where's the father? If they're not around, or you don't know where he's at, or he has a criminal record, it's like, okay, then we know what you like. And that never works. It doesn't work out. We did a whole stream talking about what's her face? Russell Simmons' daughter, Angela Simmons. Now she got on the Breakfast Club putting her best foot forward. I'm this, I'm that. Well, I tried with this, but you see how that went. Dude, this man's rap sheet was long as fucking hell. It don't matter what type of money you're used to or where you come from. Some women will put themselves in a position to catch dusty dudes. Some women just like digging in the gutter. And I don't know her dating choices or whatever, but by what Yesh said, her words were she's used to dealing with busters. If you used to dealing with busters, birds of a feather flock together. Giraffes run in herds with giraffes. Elephants run in herds with elephants. Busters run in herds with busters. The best you can get is a buster.
Hold on for a second. Splash. I don't mean to cut you off. Okay. Let me see. Kennedy to draw. I want you to let the women live. Let them live in the chat. Let them say what they got to say. Because again, if it's not substantiated with facts, it's not going to matter. Now, you will be timed out if you say something egregious that violates the community guidelines of YouTube. When you start talking reckless and saying hate speech and stuff like that, we're gonna have to time you out, because that violates YouTube's community guidelines. And that's going to be a problem for my channel. Now, if you're saying something and you feel passionate about it, that's fine. Even if you don't agree with this, actually, I welcome viewpoints that are contradictory to mine, because it makes no sense if I'm just preaching to the choir. So no, I'm not saying hate speech was said, Mar. I'm just letting you know that will be a reason, and I'm letting my moderators know that would be the reason to time somebody out. So anyways, you're welcome to, if you feel passionately about something and you want to say it in the chat, that's fine with me. I'm not gonna, it's not a problem to me. Splash, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to address that real quick.
No, it's cool. But from what Nika's saying, she said that you open an entire forum to dissect her looks. We did not dissect her looks. We dissected her complaint, the words that were coming out of her mouth.
Hold on for a second. Now, I know, in all fairness, these young ladies probably just came on to the stream, but we've been going for quite some time. As you saw by my video, I still have my scrubs on. That's because I went to work yesterday at 7:30 p.m. I got off work at 7:30 this morning. It is now 11:35 a.m. here in Seattle. So I've been up since yesterday at 7:30 p.m. and I came home and immediately started the stream. So we've been going for quite some time. So you've probably missed a lot of the content that we said. Now, we were actually addressing what the woman said. Now, when I actually played her actual video, her video wasn't shown. Only the audio was shown. Why? Or audio was actually displayed. Why? Is because I felt that what her words, what she was saying was what was important, not her face. It wasn't about what she looked like. Why wasn't it about what she looked like? Because a lot of women share her perspective, as evidenced by the presence in the chat. So women who don't look like her feel the same way that she does. Women who do look like her feel the same way that she does. So it's not about her looks. It had nothing to do with her looks whatsoever. It was about what she said. I actually said that I felt she was attractive. There's people on the panel that disagree with me. That's okay. People have their different tastes. There's plenty of people that think I'm ugly. Doesn't bother me. It is what it is. I just said I didn't like the blue contacts. That's what I don't like. Now, as far as her actual appearance, her natural appearance, I think she's attractive. I just don't like blue contacts. I don't like colored contacts on women, period. Just like I don't like a lot of makeup on women. Personal preference, but I think she's attractive. My personal opinion. Go ahead, Splash.
Nah. You can go ahead. I was already done with what I had to say.
Okay, so
be the great said women like her love the excitement and thrill of being with trash, but don't really want to be associated with it when it affects their pocketbooks.
Let me say this real quick to everybody. And Yesh, I'm gonna let you chime in. I just want to say one thing. And I started to say this earlier, but I kind of went off on a tangent. When I saw her video, I left a comment under her video. This is how she ended up coming to my channel. I left a comment, and I left the comment very respectfully. I said, respect. That was the first thing I said, first and foremost. Respect. At Uchinana. Great video, great content, looks very promising. That's what I said. You can actually go to her channel and read my comment. And I said, but I have some problems, and I'm going to be addressing it on my channel. I'm not exactly sure my exact words from that point on, but I basically said I'm going to be addressing it and debunking, some of the things you said on my channel. Just giving her a heads up, because that's what I do. I'm not going to say something behind somebody's back. Why? Because what I say, I stand behind. And so when she came here into the chat room and made some comments, I said, hey, why don't you come on the actual panel? We can actually have a discussion. There's no reason for us to go back and forth in the chat. Come on the panel and you can state your piece. And you can say, you can substantiate your claim and say, you feel this way. These are the reasons why. And I can tell you the reasons why I feel the way I feel. But what is she doing? In the chat? She tried to divert and say, oh, well, you send me the link, or send me the link to the video that the other panel member made, this, that, and the third. So then I figured out she had an agenda. She wanted to look at my video, look at the video of Yesh Yonas, and then make content based on our videos. She had no plans to actually address us personally. She'd rather go behind and make content about us when she can actually make content with us and we can actually have a dialogue. But she claimed that it's not productive and blah, blah, blah. What's not productive is talking about each other as opposed to each other. I offered my platform to her. I offered her the opportunity to actually have a conversation, have a dialogue. I afforded her that opportunity because I respect her. But she chose not to take advantage of that opportunity because she knows that the stuff that she says, she's going to have to stand on it. And it's different between standing on something in the midst of women who all agree with you, but having to actually defend your arguments against men who have a difference of opinion and who will actually substantiate their claims with fact and statistics. That's what's difficult. And that is what was intimidating to her. That's why she's not here now. Now, I respect her. I'm not bashing her, but I have to be objective. As a man, this is what I do. I'm objective. And objectively speaking, she had an opportunity. She had ample opportunity. She chose not to take advantage of it. That's the choice she made. She could have came on here and shut us all down. But she didn't. She didn't want to. But I guarantee you she's going to make a video and she's going to allude to this stream and the stream of Yesh Yonas. I guarantee you she will make a video. She will make a stream of some sort and allude to what was said today. But just remember, everybody that's in the chat, her supporters that came from her channel, She had an opportunity to actually confront us face to face. I would have gladly turned on my camera if she wanted to talk to me face to face. No problem. She didn't want to. Yes, what do you think about that?
You being too polite, but I thank you for being polite. But I'm not going to speak because I want to respect your channel. So I'll probably mention this probably later down the road, but I don't really care about this topic. But
okay.
But
there you have it.
We already know that no matter what you say, women are always going to stick to their ideology, their agenda, their thought processes. They aren't going to change. Even if you didn't say anything, they're still going to say, you said this. No matter if you say that 1,000,000 times, she's still going to go on her channel and say, you said this. No, he didn't say it. I said that. My name is Yesh Yonas.
Uh-oh.
I said it.
Woo!
I don't care about trying to please women.
Talk to him.
I don't. Super Triz is a cool dude. So he tried to keep it where he don't want anybody to get misinterpretation of what he said. I don't care. You can misinterpret anything. Listen, women, all of you women in the chat, all of you women who will listen to this later, you can misinterpret everything I was saying. I don't care. You don't do anything for me in life. I'm saying we're sticking to her dating. Her talk about she looked good at the end of the video. Oh, y'all sleeping on my looks. She mentioned her looks.
Damn.
She mentioned her looks.
Several times, actually.
So they're mad that she said this in the video and they don't want this to be spoken of. Her videos are only exclusive to us insecure women. Yeah, I said it. Her video must be exclusive to the insecure women. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, you complaining about dating in Atlanta, and we're saying this is the reason why this these are reasons why this can happen. And we brought numbers. But when we talked about her looks, you quickly, it was a small segment about her looks. Y'all did less than 2 minutes about it. 2 minutes. I came in, I did less than 30 seconds. I said, if she was handing me $100 bill, I would keep walking. How is that bad? She's handing me some money, and if I don't want it, I don't have to take it. I don't have to take it. How is that bad? See, I know how to construct my words. You guys don't. If she gave me money, I would just walk past. That's all I said. That's all I said. I said I don't like the context. I don't like the weave. That's it. And I moved on. I moved on. Less than 30 seconds. So I'm like, yo, this is crazy how we're depicting the video for the reasons why dating is hard for some women in particular, i.e. her. You get what I'm saying? We're saying these are the reasons. The numbers are wrong. You have the numbers wrong. These are the reasons. You took her looks and ran with it because that's showing your signs of insecurity or that you are actually insecure. We see it. So don't talk to me about that. Miss me with that. We got on numbers. We got on data. And we started talking about what happens in Atlanta. And they stuck on data for way too long. We actually went on data for a long period of time. Oh, you did it by yourself for about an hour. About an hour. So all of this stuff. Yeah, I do live in Georgia. I do live in Georgia. I see it. I live in Atlanta. I live in Atlanta.
There you go. Hold on. Say it again. Yes. Where do you live?
I live in Atlanta.
So she's talking about Atlanta. So who better to rebuttal her argument than somebody who lives in Atlanta? Now, you guys said it was subjective. How is it subjective when the woman you support said the ratio of women to men in Atlanta is 9-1? We pulled up the raw data. And there's several sources that corroborate our statements.
I'm not answering any more of your damn questions. He said y'all could come on here. You don't want to come on here. Stick to your damn pictures and keep making your comments. Don't ask me no more. I don't answer to women. That's your only time I'm going to answer one of your questions. I don't answer to you guys. You guys complain, moan, and gripe. but you don't want to sit down and speak on what she said in the video. You don't want to speak on what she said in the video. I'm not attacking her. I'm saying whatever she said in the video, that's what I'm making points about. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. And like I said, it's nothing personal to Uchinana. I think she has a very promising channel. I mean, I don't agree with a lot of things that she says, but there's definitely an audience, you know, for the things that she says, and her perspective is her perspective. Now, there's some things that, you know, I can't argue with. It's her particular perspective, and some of the things I agree with. I agree that, you know, dating, it may seem difficult in Atlanta, but what I said to her, what I was addressing was the fact that her particular experience, the fact that she feels that dating in Atlanta is difficult, and she specifies some reasons why. What I said was that her rationale for dating in Atlanta being difficult is what men nationwide experience daily. Daily. This is what we experience. She talked about men thinking they're better than what they truly are because based on where they live, you know, and the numbers being skewed. It's like we as men, we're the ones that actually have to get out there and pursue women. We're the ones who initiate conversation. We're the ones that constantly get rejected.
Can I beg to do something real quick, if you don't mind, Super Triz?
You ain't gotta ask me. You know you ain't gotta ask me.
Man, I just want to have respect for your platform. That's why I'm not trying to go in like I want to, because you know I could go in.
Hold on. Let me stop you right there.
No, but I'm just going to talk about the guy.
Hold on. Yes, you my guy. But I didn't invite you here to censor you. Let me say it again. I did not invite you to this hangout to censor you. You got something in your chest, let it off.
Okay, but that guy Fouls, the one F-I, he said he's not the black man, we salty. Listen, I want to tell you this right now. Put your hands behind your back.
Oh my God, here we go.
Put your hands behind your back, you fucking simp. You're being arrested for being a simp. You simp, man. Go ahead, my bad.
Hold on, it's Jay Clyde caught it. He caught it early.
Yeah, that's why I saw the alert.
Busy on my monologue. I missed that in the chat.
You simp ass dude. You need to be arrested for your simpatry. How do you say that? Simpery. My bad.
He's symptomatic. That's what we're gonna say. He's symptomatic. Now, now, I'm not sure. It could be a woman pretending to be a man just to debunk some of the stuff we're saying, but I don't know. I'm just going to assume that it is a man.
Jay Clyde, I had to get him on Super Cheers platform. I had to get him.
And I appreciate that. Matter of fact, hold on. Yes, can you hit the siren one more time? Hit the siren one more time.
You want me to hit the siren?
I hit the siren again, please. Oh, and yes, you know the cops is trigger happy. Go ahead, do it to him. The cops is trigger happy. Go ahead, do it to him.
She complaining about this one though, Super Cheers.
Let me tell you something, File Z. Right? Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, we are salty. Just hypothetically speaking. Then would that make Uchinana salty because she made the video as well? I mean,
Splash is he ready to come in with something?
Nah, I don't even think Files is a black man. What black man comes in here and states who they are? It's like, ladies, these men are salty, signed by another not salty black man. I mean, that's just one of the trolls, another female with an extra profile that they have to troll with. I mean, that ain't no man. Hey, ain't no, there's no man. I don't believe that's a man.
Oh, you
Posting
don't think
something
that's
that
a
simple.
dude?
Nah, I don't think that's a dude.
Oh, wow.
I don't think that's a dude. But one thing Nika did say, she said, she mentioned something about it would be easier to just say that you don't like women and go. And that's the whole, you probably gay or whatever, just because I don't like you, or you know, I don't want to be with you or whatever.
Hold
Like
on,
that's
hold on, wait a minute, hold on, everybody, hold on for a second. Gay men don't address women. Listen, I work in healthcare. I'm around gay men all the time. Gay men ain't thinking about women. They don't care about a woman. Actually, if a gay men usually try to align themselves with women. Gay men will be on the channel, will be on the stream, actually saying, "Go, you go, girl. I agree with you." That's what a gay man would be saying, not the stuff we saying. But go ahead.
Nah, like she put that one message above what Files said, but look, I mean, the thing when women complain about certain shit, or you know, they holler about certain shit, and they purposely not try to listen to the things you have, the constructive criticism that you have for them, 9 times out of 10, when they're complaining, they already know the answers to their problems. They just want to be heard anyway because they like the sound of their own voice. So what Nika's saying, she don't, I mean, and what Uchi Nana is saying, she know the answer to why she's having problems already. She know why. That's why it's just going around in circles, and you know, certain guys, they like, oh man, how come you don't understand what we're trying to say? That's not what they're purposely trying to deflect what we're saying. So they already know the answers. You want a man's perspective as to, if you really want a man's perspective as to why you're having problems in Atlanta, we already gave you the answer to that. And I really think they know why. They're not slow. They know why. She's educated. I mean, she can figure it out. She knows why. You got a thug problem. Get with a square. That's all.
Okay, now.
Look.
I'm sorry.
I mean, look at Larsa Pippen. Look at Larsa. This we talked about her the other day. She got a thug problem. This bitch is willing to throw her whole entire marriage, the relationship with her husband, with her kids, to be in the street because she got a thug problem also. They know their problem. They know. When you get a woman cornered and you like, and you really corner them, they'll admit their problem. They can't help it. She want that dirty Sprite. That's what she want.
hey, everybody! Now, this has been a great chat, but we got Black Ram 313 with the live stream right now. Now, he's talking about the title of his stream, Black Ram 313, why she will always be the woman on the side with Ohim Imara. Now, if you guys are not subscribed to Black Ram 313, he has some very interesting videos. Now, for all you ladies that are in here right now, I advise you to go to Black Ram 313. I'm trying to be nice to y'all now. He gonna really give it to you. Go on over to Black Ram 313 because that's where we about to go right now too. Splash, you definitely want to check out his channel. He's spitting some gems. So everybody in the chat, type in Black Ram, BLACKRAM 313. No spaces. Black Ram 313. He's doing the live stream right now. There's about 467 people in there right now. So it's popping. But on that note, anybody have any closing arguments from the panel?
Well, let me go before Splash. You're never going to change these women's mind. They always going to have the same argument. You heard Splash just say that. We made an argument. They don't want to stick to that. They only want to stick to their points. That's why when you listen, whenever you have a discussion with a woman in person, right? You stick to one argument. Never allow them to, don't answer anything else. Just stick to that one discussion. Now, when it's time to move on to something else, that's when you move on to something. But don't allow to them for them not to address the topic at hand. They're good at that. They're good at that. They're good at getting you, calling you a weak dude, calling you gay, calling. They always try to do that. They always try to. And Super Triz, when I Splash is somebody y'all mentioned when I said I just need to go because I don't answer to them. Now, if that woman is my woman, that's who I would be answering to. That's who I'd be having a discussion with. You guys are biased. You stick to what we talking about numbers. These numbers are actual evidence of what's happening in Atlanta. Now, some cases, some articles can be biased, but I'm saying these numbers are not biased. And just because I'm not attracted to her enough to take $100 bill, you mad? She's supposed to keep the money in her pocket. You illogical mother. If I don't take it, she's like, well, I'm gonna put the money back in my pocket. You ain't supposed to get mad because I don't want to take a $100 bill. You guys are easy to. You guys' minds are easy to like. This is why America knows what they can do with you. They know who we can put on camera. They know what they can do to get you all in your feelings. It's easy. It's easy. But because I express stuff loudly, I'm just a loud talker. Anybody will tell you that. I'm just a loud talker. But as far as anything, you guys can have her. And the men that don't want her, they can have her. You get it? The men that don't want her, they can have her. But yeah, but other than that, Super Cheers, thanks a lot. Splash, thanks a lot. I ain't listening to nothing. I'm going to finish writing these 2 books. But I'm out of here. Peace, fellas.
Peace.
Hey, peace. My final closing words, man, is fellas, if you're out there, especially black men, the thing is black men, you got to get your emotions in check. You know, I've always had this mindset. I wouldn't say always, but I've had this mindset since my early 20s. When I was in my late teens, early 20s, I did a lot of simping myself. I fucked up a lot. I didn't simp for women that I never had sex with. I'll admit I was a simp to women I was in a relationship because I fucked up, and then when I tried to get them back, I was acting very simpish. But after about 22, 23 years old, you know, an OG pulled me to the side and was telling me, because, you know, he was well traveled, and was talking about how, you know, you don't ever want to take any disrespect from any of these women out here. Nothing. If you see signs of disrespect, check them. If they're not responsive to how you check them, just keep it pushing. Because he's like, in some of these other cultures and some of these other countries, they don't even like you for the color of your skin. You know, going from one place to the next. In some of these other cultures or whatever, these women, they don't loud talk their own men that way. They don't put down their own men that way. They don't throw each other under the bus in that way. So if a woman's doing that to you, more than likely she's not going to do that to another man that's outside of the culture or whatever, or somebody from her culture if she's of another race. And then when I travel myself, I see this, I'm like, damn, I don't see that much ratchetness. I'm in Thailand right now. I don't see that much ratchetness out here. I don't see women loud talking men putting their fingers in their face, talking about what's wrong with these men. Yeah, they kind of get with the program. There's a program out here and they just deal with it because it's for the betterment of their culture to stick around with each other. And if they're classified as no good, they just deal with a foreigner. But once they go with a foreigner, they're done for life because the standards are so high out here. Fellas out there listening, you need to raise your standards up as well. When a woman is talking like that, a young woman, 22, I don't know how old she is, early 20s or whatever, a woman that young of an age, more than likely she shouldn't have any problems. You should be getting with a square, a doctor, a lawyer, somebody, a business owner, a businessman, somebody who works in corporate, somebody who works in the medical field. You shouldn't have a problem because there's a lot of eligible bachelors out there. These women, they want to dwell in the gutter. That's their problems. Dwelling in the gutter is not working for them. And then when shit fails and they keep failing, then that's when they want to square. Then that's when you see the Sierras, how the street cat fails. So then she get with a square and she's just using the square. And they'll take it all the way with a square. They'll get married. They'll have kids. They don't give a fuck because they really don't care about themselves. All right. But whenever you hear women talking about shit like this, just keep it pushing. You know, but we're just here to dissect some of the things she's saying to let y'all know, man, you ain't really got to fall for the okie doke. There's plenty of women out there. You know, have some morals, ethics, and values, and have self-respect. Because when you have self-respect and a woman sees, okay, this man ain't really putting up with my shit, then that's when they fall in line. And then that's when they start acting feminine and they start acting like women. All right, so that's all I got to say.
And my closing statement is that you know, there's an individual in a chat room, and he's you know, he's caping. He's definitely caping, and that's fine. You know, there's always going to be that particular demographic of men that want to cater to women. That's okay. But when you come into a space like this and you complain about the content of the space, why are you even here? When I look on YouTube, there's lots of content that I just gloss right over because it doesn't appeal to me. Like there's content where they got guys live streaming Fortnite. You see that all over YouTube. They're live streaming Fortnite. And it doesn't interest me. But because it doesn't interest me doesn't mean it doesn't have merit. Obviously, it has merit and value because it attracts so many people. It's a bustling business, Fortnite. People are spending money buying content for that game. They love it. But it's just not for me, so I choose not to entertain it. But that doesn't mean I'm going to say, oh, you guys here watching Fortnite and commenting about Fortnite, you guys are stupid. No, that's what they like. And it's relevant. Obviously, it has a following. Now, as far as what I'm saying in relation to this woman, the reason why I have to address it, I feel compelled to address the things that she said is because of men like you. Men who cape for women. Men who consistently come to the aid of women. Men who consistently believe the stories that women say. Like somebody who has never been to Atlanta, who consistently capes for women, would have listened to her stream and said, wow, there's really 9 women to every man in Atlanta. Wow, it's really hard for women in Atlanta for dating. Wow, the women's experience in Atlanta is exclusive to her. She has a harder time. Black women in Atlanta have a harder time than anybody as far as dating is concerned. But no, I have to debunk that and say no. The experience that she has in Atlanta as far as dating is no different from the experience men have nationwide across all demographics. Dating is nobody said dating is going to be easy. But I guarantee you that woman in Atlanta has an easier time than 90% of men in the country. Let me say that again. This woman in Atlanta complaining about her experiences of dating has an easier time at dating than 90% of the men in this country. And I stand by that. And the reason why I want to actually debunk what she says in her video is because I don't want men to fall into the trap of feeling sorry for a woman. We got a lot of men that got a soft spot in their heart for women's sob stories. And they're just that. They're sob stories. Most of it's confabulated. Most of it is rumor and conjecture. And most of it is intentionally worded to appeal to a man's emotions. But man, we got to be better than that. We got to see past that BS. We just debunked what she said. We had statistics to prove it. No, there isn't 9 women to every man in Atlanta. In actuality, in that particular demographic of 18 to 24, 18 to 34, there's actually more men than there are women. Let me say that again. In a demographic of 18 to 34, there is more men than there are women. Not a substantially amount more men, but there is more men than women. It's not until you get past 34 that you start to see the effects of mortality, a higher mortality rate amongst men. And we explain the reasons why men have a higher mortality rate. Then as we get to the next age bracket of 45 and greater, then we have the actual life expectancy start to kick in, because men have a shorter life expectancy than women, statistically speaking. This is the reason why I say that her arguments were debunked, because we have statistical data to substantiate our claims. It's nothing personal. I respect her, and I recommend everybody that's following the stream right now to subscribe to her channel. She has a very good looking channel. The content actually looks good. It looks very professional. I was quite impressed. And I actually watched her entire video. And then when I was done, not only did I leave a comment, I liked the video. That means I actually physically hit the thumbs up. Now, if I was hating on her, if I had some animosity towards her, I wouldn't have done that. Because there's plenty of videos that I watch and I just don't like at all. And I don't hit the like button. I don't hit the subscribe button. I just watch it, halfway through it, I turn it off and I go along my way. But I took the time, I watched her entire video, I liked it, and I commented. Why? Because I respect what she's doing. I don't agree with what she's saying, but I at least respect what she's doing. Splash, I don't know if you got something else to say, because I see you kind of chime in a little bit.
Nah, I'm just laughing at what they're typing in this chat room. It's hilarious. I mean,
you're not gonna appeal to everybody, Splash. You know what? I've explained.
I'm not trying to appeal to them. I just think it's funny what they're typing. It's funny. I mean, I could clearly see these hoes. Oh, excuse me, these women are lost in the sauce. They are lost in the sauce. And you could be bitter, you could be mad. Obviously, y'all are feminists. Nika was talking about how she's African. Like, okay, like, African men, they don't put up with that shit neither. African men talk just like Yesha. Oh, yes, excuse me, not Yesha. Yes, African men talk just like Yesh to y'all over there in Africa. So you see America and Canada, those are two big. It's a big paradise for women.
They just don't even know. They don't even know.
It's simp land. Go find a nerd. If you black, go find a black nerd that you can get along with and live happily ever after. I mean, y'all will date the nerds of every other race besides your own. Oops. Did I really just say that? Oh, damn. Y'all will date the nerds of every other race besides your own. Hell, that 22-year-old woman, I see them all over the internet with a old, decrepit 60, 70-year-old white sugar daddy up in the hotel, drinking on some white Zinfandel. I see that all over the internet. So y'all don't have a problem. It's just the thugs aren't working for y'all. Just be honest. The thugs, the bums, the lowlifes, you can't find a good bum. You can't find a good thug. I mean, you said you want a thug. Don't be scared now. That's what Young Buck said. You said you want a thug. Don't be scared now. America and Canada, that's simp land. I mean, for you to say that you can't find, let me tell y'all something. If you can't find a man in America or Canada, then you might as well, you know, start dating women. If you don't try to go nowhere else, because you can look up other black women talking about their experiences over in Asia or over in Europe or in Poland or in South America. It's horrendous. You think it's bad in Atlanta, you ain't seen shit yet. Talking about, oh, we got options too. We got a passport too. Okay, go ahead and use that passport over in a different country and see what happens to you. Go type in black in Asia or black women dating in Europe or whatever. Go listen to what they got to say. They go right back over to America and they appreciate where they came from. So if you're looking for a good man, you better straighten up. You better tighten up. You dig what I'm saying? Because outside of America, oh, there's nothing for you. America and Canada, that's simp land for black women. That is simp land. You can get what you want and what you're looking for in simp land in America. So I don't know what y'all complaining for. Y'all, we don't want to hear that shit.
Splash. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself, man. You just, man. Listen, man. You went in. You went in.
I mean, the way black women are today. I mean, I gotta go there, man. The way black women are today, you're lucky. You're lucky that there's still men out there that are thirsty for you. There are a lot of thirsty simps out there for you. You know it. They all up in your DMs, but they're the black nerds that you don't like. You know what I'm saying? The regular square everyday work at a 9 to 5. You know, y'all hate a brother with a 9 to 5, especially in Atlanta. They hate brothers with 9 to 5s. Or they look down at brothers with a job over there in the night. Oh, you ain't hustling. You ain't trying to. Oh, I'm used to this. I'm used to that. Y'all know. I mean, it's like a script that they all have. I'm used to this. I'm used to that. You dig? You luckily that there are brothers still thirsty for you where you got somebody else's hair on your head. You got contacts that don't match the color of your eyes. You got a gang of makeup on your face. And then when you wake up, I mean, you know, you can look like LaToya Luckett, you know, during the day, but look like Ving Rhames in the morning when that shit wipe off. Look like Holiday Heart up in my bed. Like, what the fuck? Like somebody robbing me or some shit. You know what I'm saying? You luckily, like, you know, you out there, you hoes out there in Atlanta. You got the little what's that shit called? The waist trainers and shit. You wearing that shit to the club, fake acting like you got a slim waist, and when you let that bitch go, buttons are flying off, zippers are ripping off.
Buttons are flying at this point.
Yeah.
Buttons are flying at this point.
Yeah, you've been holding in gas all day. You had to let out a fart all day. You just holding it in with that waist trainer. Just come on, man. Like, look, you women out there, you know what it takes? All it takes is love. As simple as that. It's very simple. You know, we don't have to go into the science or anything. All it takes is love. When you love yourself, you'll appreciate another man that loves himself. Or regular everyday brother. When I see brothers who are articulate, who have education, you don't see them with black women. It's not that because they don't want to be with black women. We prefer black women. I prefer black. I like, and the darker the better. I like dark-skinned women. I like Amada La Negra. I like dark-skinned women with a body on them, but I mean, it's too much self-hatred, and then it's like it's a hostile environment every time we come around. Most dates that I've been on with black women, I treated them like queens and not simping. I just treated them with respect, and it always ends early. I always got to turn around and drop them off, or I always got to say, hey, you know what? You know, I'll pay my part of the tab. You have a good day. Thanks, but no thanks. It always ends early. You know, and I always give black women a chance. I mean, I'm a brother who's traveled. Like, I've dated black women in Texas, California, Florida, North Dakota, all over Canada, even out here in Thailand, China. I've been on dates with black women everywhere. It all ends early.
Now,
Because
and
there's
now,
really no respect for the man, the black man. You have respect for every other man out there of a different race, but there's no respect for us. It's not reciprocal. I respect you, but you don't respect me. You just want to argue with me. So it's like I don't, I keep it pushing. But the only men that's probably black that you like to put you in check are the street cats, the aggressive street cat, the ass whoopers. You dive into the streets and wondering why shit is happening to you. Your misfortunes and your transgressions are happening to you every other day. It's because you like fucking with the streets, and the streets have no love. The streets don't love you, boo boo. They don't love y'all. The streets got no love. What were you saying?
I was gonna say, well, shout out to Junk Pop Video. He's back on it, check-in. I think he has something to say, so I'll let him talk.
Yeah, I just wanted to address a couple of the ladies that was in the chat, like the Nika and the Mara Mara. Names like that, to be honest with you, especially the way they're spelled, and just because, I've been married to an African woman for almost 13 years now, I know the names. It definitely differs than what, an African American woman would name her name as an avatar or whatever have you. And so their talking points, basically, the way they talk is that they've been to the West for a little too long. They're either born here or came here at a very young age or transformed right away as soon as they got here, because this is where they wanted to be all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore they don't really sound like black women from here. They sound like transplants from Africa, either in somewhere in Europe or somewhere over here in North America, Australia, what have you. So basically they're not like real aggressive. Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed that, but they're still talking like feminists. And yet they don't make the connection between feminism and what we know as feminism, the way it really is of today, the climate of it, and their talking points is the same. They don't get that. See, in Africa, where the women don't want to come here, or they want to come here for economic reasons or to go to school and don't transform their culture into a Western culture, they keep it. Those are the women who are always going to disagree with the Mara Mara and the Nika. Okay, and I'm married to one of them, so I know the contrast between the transformer and the woman who's going to keep her culture when she comes over here. So these women are transformers. If they're really from Africa, which it does sound like they are, not just because they're saying they are, but I'm going by their names and I'm going by the way they're talking. It sounds like they are, but they're transformers if they are. So basically, they've basically dissed their own culture to bring up this culture and fight us as men, wanting to go for not the uneducated lanes, but want to go for the thugs because they've been attracted to the thug. The so-called thug, the Billy Bobs, whatever you have, that's who they're attracted to. And that's why they're not getting nowhere, because they're following the same pattern as a lot of American women who are complaining that they can't get no good man. But yet the ones who don't desert their own culture, why are they always finding good men? And that's a fact. African women that come over here and find boyfriends or husbands here usually do, more times than not, find the good men because they stick to a standard that says, this is the way I was raised, this is the type of man that I should go after, right? This is what I should bring to the table. This is not what these women are doing. They're acting like American women.
And that's so true, Junk Pal Video, because a lot of the things that I see is not exclusive to a particular demographic of women. It's across the board. American women in general, it displays some of these characteristics. Not all American women, obviously,
right?
But there's a lot of American women that display these behavioral characteristics across the board. And now let me say this. Guess what? I don't blame the women. I blame the men for tolerating that behavior. Yes.
I have to agree.
100%. This is the men's fault. Think about it, right? How is it that men in other countries who don't have the socioeconomic status that we have here in the United States are still able to exert control over their women? How is that possible? When all the go ahead, Splash.
Nah, you bring up a good point, because, and you know, I've talked to you about the male and female dating dynamic out here in Asia. Is you got Thai men out here who, you know, Thailand, Bangkok is #1 for tourism. You have over 36 million tourists every single year that fly in and out of Bangkok. And a lot of these, you know, most of them are men. And a lot of the men, they come over here and they mess around with women. Now, the average salary for a Thai person out here is around $300 to $400 per month. So a lot of men are losing their women to tourists, to foreigners. And then on the flip side, there's a lot of men who, what makes it even worse is there's a high-end mall that's built on every train station out here. I mean, and when I mean every train station, I mean every train station over here. Gucci, Dolce & Gabbana, Cartier, you name it. It's all on display, every train station that you ride on. So a lot of the men, you know, some of them, you know, it's like, okay, let me put on my heels and get out here and make the same money that women are making. It's tough out here. So what you just said, it really hit home, because there's a lot of men who go through worse than what we go through in America, but they still have a level of standard saying like, no, I do not care about what's going on out here. If she's older than 26, she's considered no good. I don't want to date somebody that's 26. No, I'm not dating somebody with a child, because this, that, and the third will happen if I date a woman with the child, and I do not want to go with that or go through that. So a lot of women, you don't see Thai men, single Thai men getting with women that have children, or in any Asian country for that matter. So what you said, I mean, that's very real. That's real, you know.
But
So go ahead.
you have to ask the reason why. You got to ask the real reason why. What's the real reason why? And I'm gonna let you go, Junk Pal Vidoe, because I know you want to say something next. But I'm gonna say this real quick. We have to ask why they're able to exert control while we are being manipulated by women over here. Well, women's independence in the United States is subsidized by the child support courts, family court system, and welfare. Those three things. Women can either get welfare, she can get child support, sometimes exorbitant amounts of child support. In the case of Blake Griffin, having to pay the mother of his children $257,000 a month. And the I said welfare, child support, and family court system. When somebody gets divorced, you know, as in the case of one of my close friends, having to, beyond the normal stuff, giving up, you know, half the assets, and, you know, giving up the car, giving up the marital home, he had to give up half of his 401k.
Wow.
Half of his 401k he had to give to the wife who initiated divorce because she found another man. So we have to understand that women are subsidized, but that's just a symptom of the greater problem. The greater problem is that you look on Capitol Hill, who's enacting legislation that marginalizes men here in America. It's other men. Men are who are making these laws. Capitol Hill is 80%, 85% men. It's men making these laws, not women, men. And there's a reason why. I'm not going to go into that bigger reason why, because it's even more devious than that when we start asking the real reasons why men are making laws that marginalize other men. But we just know that at the end of the day, we look towards men for the reason why the country is in a state that it's in. Go ahead, Junk Pal. I know you got something to say.
Yeah, definitely. You have to blame the men because, like you said, men make majority of the laws, or they make the laws in almost any given country. You know, you may have a woman president in a couple of these countries, but as far as the lawmakers are concerned in those countries, it's still men. And basically, these men are just giving in. You know, it's there might be even a more sinister reason why it's happening. It might be on a corporate level for some reasons, but we have women who will whisper in the ears of these men over time, little by little, chip it away, and these men will give in to that. That's that little bit of witchcraft. You could blame that on witchcraft or whatever you want to call it. But men cater to women when actually women should be catering to men on a respective level where men can actually respect their own wives. Now, I'm going to tell you something that comes back from my own wife's tribe. She's got a grandmother who's not really her grandmother. So basically, her grandfather had 2 wives. But when we got married, due to her tradition in her tribe, she asked, "Did you kneel down and serve him like a drink?" Right? She said no. So basically, my wife asked me, "Do you want me to do that?" I was like, "Well, I don't want to lie to her. Just do it once, and that way you don't have to lie. Because if you just say you did it when you didn't do it, you're living a lie." So she did it once. So when sure enough, her grandmother asked, "Did you finally do it?" And she said, "Yeah." So we didn't have to lie to her own grandmother, right? There's a traditional and a level of respect that women have on their own in certain places that they carry on over to the relationship and in society, where we don't have laws being passed in these other countries that are making men who are supposed to be the breadwinners, the protection system of the wife and the kids and the community, to where it's underhanded by these other men who listen to women who just give in. We as a society, or any society for that matter, shouldn't have to go through that. You look at Western society, it's in disarray. It does not work. Western society says you're 50-50, but when it comes down to a divorce, it never ends up 50-50. You're supposed to be 100-100, but you're 50-50, the man gets less than 50%.
And you know why, Junk Pal? Because economic agendas clash with biological imperatives. Let me say it again. Economic agendas clash with biological imperatives.
Explain that a little bit.
Because you have an economic agenda to acquire resources.
I can see that, yeah.
So now you have women who are seeking independence. They want economic resources independent of a man, because they feel that having economic resources independent of a man supplants the need or necessity to answer to a man. But unfortunately, that clashes with the biological imperative, because in the pursuit of resource acquisition, women run out of time on their biological clock. Then they're in a frenzy to procreate. But because they spent so much time with their career and scholastic endeavors, now they don't really have the time to focus on motherhood. Now they have to actually make a choice. They have to sacrifice their career or compromise their career in order to bear and raise children. That's where that actual clash between the economic agenda and biological imperative occur, because it's very difficult to do both. You know, that first year and a half, up to even 3 years of that child is bonding time. But if you're at work or actually going away from the home 12 hours of the day, when you combine your commute with your actual work day, you're missing out on valuable time of bonding with your offspring.
Right.
So this is where that clash occurs. And so now you don't have women at home guiding the children. Children are being raised by media. They're being raised by what they see on TV. So you have very extremes on the perspective. Women who wait until they're 40 years old to have children. You have girls who are 12, 13 years old having children. But the points in between, men are not wanting to be involved with women because they're scared. Because now being with women, procreating, entertaining the biological imperative is a liability for most men. Either you're going to be saddled with child support when a woman leaves you, or you're going to get hit with a divorce settlement, potentially alimony and spousal support, depending on where you live. And so that's going to interfere with that man's ability to retain his resources. That's the actual economic agenda.
Here's another thing that men really got to stop doing. And especially if you're not sure with the woman that you're with, I mean, there's no way to be absolutely sure. But more times than not, you can figure out if you got somebody who's trustworthy or not. You need to stop giving away your damn sperm to these women.
Facts.
Because that has been considered in the Western society as the #1 commodity. They won't say that on paper, but that's what's being said in the courts in so many ways. You are the man. You pay for everything, or you give more than half of your assets over to her. She's going to take the child by default. You're going to, under new monies, sometimes when you get new monies, it's going to come into play that you got to pay extra. We see that with the basketball players and all that, paying this extra money that they didn't have to before in the first court case, coming in for child support and things like that. It's always adding on. So the man's the #1 thing out there, the #1 resource is a man's sperm. Stop giving it away to these women that don't deserve shit.
Facts.
Because a lot of these women, whether they're educated or not, whether they're actually going to school and using their education or not, they're still coming after you for that sperm because it's a little bit of extra money. They get what they want. They get to play mom 8 hours a day out of the 24-hour day, like you're talking about. Leave 12 hours plus your commute time. Stop giving it away, because right now, if you don't think as your sperm as being the #1 resource in the world, then you're a fool as a man. And it doesn't matter if she thinks you're ugly or not. Your sperm is the #1 resource, because without that sperm, there is no society. Because there's already, in science, they know how to make a womb. They know how to make an egg without a woman. They just need the sperm. So you think about that. Chinese right now are already trying to, in their science community, is already trying to get men being impregnated with their own sperm so they can give birth without women because of the shortage of women.
Oh, yeah. There's like 40 million more men in China than women.
Yeah. So, you have sick things going on like that. But just remember, if you don't believe that your sperm is resource #1, you're an absolute fool. It's the same argument. I can compare it in the same argument. You can romanticize about Africa or European vacations, whatever, but you ain't going to be able to do shit without the #1 resource to get you there, and that's a damn passport. You're just going to romanticize your whole damn life. If you don't get that passport, you're not going nowhere. So that's all I got to say on that. I mean, this falls into politics, which pisses me off. But
and then on top of that, like, what Super Triz mentioned earlier, you have the media raising the children. It's like you said, the #1 commodity is the sperm. But then when the women, when they have children and then they file for child support and they pull the man out of the house like they've been doing for decades, hell, centuries in certain cultural groups, then the fatherless child fuels the prison industrial system. So that's more money that's going back into the economy.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. You know, we definitely gonna have to have some more conversations because that just like there's just so many tangents that we can go on. But
let me insert this real quick for some of the men who are probably like turning a blind eye to this. You know, I mean, because women know this already. Really, it's a lot of men that don't know this. If your sperm was not a resource, then why are there sperm banks paying somebody to jack off in a room $80 for their sperm, but they're going to turn around and make about $1,000 to impregnate? There are no egg
you just
banks.
killed them with that.
There are no egg banks.
You just killed them with that junk. You just shut down the internet with that one. You just shut it down. Now, see, at this point, right? I guarantee somebody's gonna try to debunk what you just said, Junk Pal, but they can't. They can't. They can't. I mean, that's facts. That's not even an opinion, Junk Pal. That's facts. I mean, on that note, man, that's that right there. That just shut it down. You know, I'm pretty much done. Unless anybody else has anything to say.
That's it for me.
Splash, you got anything? Any last words?
Nah, that's it.
All right. I appreciate you fellas for joining me, Junk Pal. It's always a pleasure. And again, I always got to shout you out, Junk Pal, because you helped me get started on this, man. You've been in my corner, and I appreciate that.
No problem.
Splash, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Always dropping knowledge. I appreciate your presence as well. Yes, Yonas checked out early. Shouts out to him. Head Above Water. Look him up on YouTube. Please subscribe to his channel, Junk Pal Video. Look him up. Please subscribe to his channel. Everybody in the chat, shout out to everybody. Poetic Kills, Frogbox, File Z, CRU Reality. I didn't even know you was in here. San Francis again. Mika, Mar. Yeah, I'm shouting out the people that was going against us. Because it's nothing personal. I welcome the differences of opinion. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to address it, but I still welcome it. And on that note, I'm out.
All right.
Peace out. Peace.
Peace.